How y'all doing, man? I'm sorry I'm late. Let me set up, man. I'm a little late tonight. I don't know who I got in the building. I'm still trying to set things up here. What's going on with y'all tonight? How y'all doing? Who I got in the building tonight, man? Brett. Salute, Brett. How you doing, man? He said he shared the stream. I appreciate it, but he's working right now. He will miss most of or all of the stream. Ryan, how you doing, Ryan? Ryan, you never emailed me, man. I'm waiting for the email so I can send this shirt out. Um, but I hope everybody's doing well tonight, man. I apologize for being late, but I appreciate you guys. I hate being late, man. I'm usually like right on time, but I'm just getting in from a wedding. My nephew got married today, and beautiful wedding, man. Beautiful wedding, man. I had a great time. When I left, they were still partying. They were still going strong, but so I drove like basically clear across the state to get back, get back home. Um, Beautiful wedding, man. Like, what can you say, man, about young love, man? For me, it's beautiful. I love seeing it. I know a lot of people these days don't support that, but it is what it is. Mr. Tate, how you doing, sir? How you doing, man? It's good to see you in here. Tell your wife I said hi, Lilibet. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for showing up tonight. But yeah, so I just got back in. I had a couple beers, man. I don't drink. Typically, I really don't drink. But I had a couple beers tonight. Not enough to get tipsy or anything like that, but enough to enjoy myself. Oh, salute, salute. I'm filtered black abroad. I ain't even catch it. I don't even know what it was about, man. I've been busy today. This wedding basically was all day. For me, as far as getting up, getting ready, driving to it. But like I said, I record some for them. Um, it was good, man. I love seeing it, man. I'm not saying that it's for everybody, but that couple right there, I know they're gonna make it because they're a beautiful couple, man. They're two good people, just genuinely good human beings, man. Salute. So salute to everybody, man. That showed up. That's in the building tonight, man. Q, man. I appreciate you, bro. Bump has or not, man. I appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you do, bro. Um, I do have a title tonight, man. It's is this a midlife crisis or a midlife correction for men? For men, because I talk to men. Like I just had a really good conversation with my brother. He rode with me to the wedding. Um, Deep, man. That's a deep brother, man. My brother is one of the smartest people I know. I'm trying to convince him to start a YouTube channel, man. Talk about what he feels because I'll be honest, a lot of stuff he says I agree with. Some I don't, as far as the message and who we should be directing our message at. But at the end of the day, man, every time I talk to him, I walk away with a thought in my head, with a spark in my head, man. You know, and he needs a channel, man. We need more people talking. I always say that. We need more men willing to talk, to open up. Are you going to face criticism? Yes. Are you going to get pushback? Yes. But with our voices, like there's a void left. It's a huge void left without our voices, man. Salute, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan said it. Type mine in the chat so Nightbot can drop your link. That's why we don't have mods. We don't need mods here. Um, I got one mod, and that's Icy. We don't need them here because we got Nightbot. Free promotion. Free promotion. If you got a channel, if you got a product you want to push, I don't care as long as it's nothing negative. Um, Promote yourself, man. You can do that here. You got a topic you want to talk about? Talk about it here, man. This is an open forum. I have topics, but we all know if you watch me long enough, you know that by the end of it, we talk about anything that comes up, anything that's on your mind. I encourage that because a lot of times we just see the same people talking. And I don't mind my regulars, expat living abroad, Ryan, Cisco, TJ. Those are the regulars. Joseph, Icy, Miss Wishy. I appreciate their voices. I really do. But I want to hear from you for more voices, man. Frank Tate, you came up here once. I appreciate that. We need to hear more from you because you're an intelligent brother, man. And you got a lot to offer. We need to hear more. More men like you speaking up. I'm not saying start a channel or nothing like that because I know you probably won't. But let your voice be heard, man. Let your influence be heard. Because we're competing. We are competing out here with a lot of negativity, man. I may not be the most positive person in the world, but I know I'm not negative, right? So what about this midlife crisis? Or is it a midlife correction? You know, it seems like today, a lot of us are going through it. A lot of us are up against it, battling society, battling our own women, battling, unrealistic expectations from men. Like we're supposed to be traditional men in a modern world, dealing with modern women, modern problems, but we're supposed to deal with them like our grandfathers dealt with them, but times have changed, you know. And when we wake up and we realize that we've lived our life for everyone except ourselves, and we seek to change that or correct, they call it a midlife crisis. That's the label that they put on it. When we finally wake up, and say, this isn't it for me, in their mind, in society's mind, they don't take it serious. It seems like it's a joke. It's a punchline, you know. A sports car. That's what it used to be. A hair transplant, a younger women back in the day. But in 2025, the so-called midlife crisis is something different. It's something totally different, man. It's not a crisis. It's clarity. I lived long enough. I'm not that old, but I lived long enough to see both sides of it. I've lived it myself. I've been the man that kept his head down, grinded for everybody else, for everybody else's benefit. I've been the man who sacrificed what I wanted so my kids could have everything that they needed. I've been the man who also woke up and was like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want it anymore because I'm living for everybody but me. Back in the day, it was different. A midlife crisis was simple. You hit 40, 45, 50. You felt trapped, won't buy your job, buy your relationship. You went out and bought a sports car. You went out and got a new woman. You started dressing different, but you were still playing the same game. You just swapped out the equipment. You didn't change. You just fell into the distraction. Now it's totally different, right? Men aren't just changing their equipment. They're changing the whole playbook, right? We see it. They're walking away from marriages, from careers, from entire countries. Some are leaving the dating market completely. Others are selling everything, moving to the other side of the planet. And it's not just 40, 50, 60-year-olds, right? It's men in their late 20s. The Q's in here. He's 30. You know what I'm saying? They're saying, nah, I'm not doing it. I'm not signing up for it. And I don't see nothing wrong with it. A lot of people think that I push back against that. I don't. I absolutely don't push back against men seeking peace. I push back a lot about the so-called gurus, right? That's who I push back against. The ones who sell the dreams, the ones who sell the nightmares. Like, that's all that there is. And if you don't do exactly what I'm doing, then you're weak or you're lost. That's what I push back against. The guys that'll tell you everything is fucked up and it's never going to get better and there's no way you can make it out that's the guys I push back against. You know what I'm saying? But back to the subject. You know, Men today haven't gotten suddenly lazy or weak. They started realizing that the math doesn't add up anymore. I've realized it myself. You the economy, the cost of things, the stress, right? Marriage. I've walked away from a marriage. That's why I say I don't advocate for marriage. I don't advocate against it, but I don't advocate for it. You know what I mean? We know the dangers that come with it. We know the responsibilities, the liabilities, the potential loss that you can face from a marriage in the West. Fatherhood. Men are saying that they don't want to get married in the West, and they also don't want to have children in the West. I agree with that. I'm not against having another child, and I'm 47, but I wouldn't have a child in America. That's my personal preference. It's too expensive, right? One, it's too expensive. $1,500 every 2 weeks for childcare. Two, the school systems. Like, I would personally, now raising a kid, now I would want my child to go to private school. Because who knows what they're gonna get in a public school nowadays. Especially in the community that I live in. Like, but it's cost. And then at the end of that, father, I was lucky. I'm not saying that me getting custody of my son when he was 10 was anything special I did. I was lucky, man. And I'll acknowledge that. The relationships that I have had, I've been lucky. It's not because I chose right. It's not because I knew something that other guys didn't, because in the end, those relationships ended up failing too. I was lucky because I didn't come across these vindictive ass women, and we know that they can be out there, who want to see you suffer, who want to take everything. I haven't had one of those. I don't know if it's because the dynamics of the relationship while I was in it. I don't know. I just know that I haven't came across that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was lucky because I didn't have to fight. I had to fight to get custody of my son, but I never had to fight to see my kids or be in my kids' life. I never had them held over me, held over my head. Like, oh, you want to see your kids? You got to do this. Nah, my kid's mother, like, she didn't care. I get my kids anytime I want it. I could keep them for as long as I want it. So, But fatherhood, man, it's tough. And it can be used against you if things go wrong in a relationship, you know. And then you're also fighting against social media. You're also fighting against the system. You're also fighting against societal norms nowadays that are totally different from when we grew up, you know, totally different from even when my son was a child, how much society has changed. It's amazing if you stop and look back at it. Stop and look back 20 years ago, you know, 21 years ago when my son was born, and look at now. It's just totally different world, you know. So men don't want it. A lot of men don't want it. Some do, and some are still pursuing that. You know, I've never been the type of person to say, "Hey, don't get married in the West." I say, choose wisely, be careful, know what the risks are before you get into it, and that's why I make videos and streams like I did last week, the other day. You know, about how you should be structuring a relationship instead of leading with preferences. You know, lead with boundaries, standards. You know, those conversations are needed. You know, so marriage, you know, fatherhood, the economy, and working. You know, you work yourself to the bone to earn, to provide for your family. You know, for a job that will replace you at the drop of a dime, for a job that you go to and you know that they only see you as a number. You know, what up, Juice? How you doing, bro? It's good to see you in here, bro. You know, a job that you know. It's worse when you know, like, this job don't give a damn about me. You know, I'm just a number. The only thing they care about is what I produce for them. And honestly, that's maybe that's how it should be. But you know, when the people you actually work side by side with see you that way also, you know, that's when it's like, man, look, I'll pass, bro. I'll pass. Come on, what up, brother? Good to see you in here, man. You know, when you feel like the country that you lay your life down for doesn't give a fuck about you, men are walking away. It just is. It is what it is. I'm calling it like I see it. You know, men are walking away. Is that a crisis or is that a correction? You know, why would you even call a man waking up and realizing what's happening to him? It doesn't feel good, and it's not a path that they want to continue to go down. Why is that a crisis? You know, it's a crisis because if they call it a crisis, they can ridicule you. You know, they can minimize it. It's not a crisis to wake up and see what's going on around you and realize that you're being used, that you're just a cog in the system. That's not a crisis. What are you gonna do? It's what you do is with that. That's the correction. You know, they will never admit that they are losing their best players. Who are their best players? Us. We are. You know, and if they could keep us asleep, they could keep us being sheep and not wanting to talk and not wanting to speak out and not wanting to push back, they win. Because we are the batteries. You know, we are the innards. We are the driving force of the society. A lot of people don't see that. A lot of people don't believe that. We are the driving force. of this country, of this society. There's no other way around that. But we refuse to speak out. We refuse to stand up. The men that are walking away have woken up. They realized it and they've chosen to do something about it. That's not a crisis. That's a correction. You know, you're coming to your senses. Calling it a crisis makes it seem irrational, right? You think crisis. When I think crisis, I think of people panicky and not knowing what to do, unsure. That's not what I see. It's not what I see from the men that have chosen to leave. The real men, the everyday men. I'm not talking about these talking heads, these gurus. I'm talking about the everyday men. They're not confused. They're sure. You know, and society does not want to admit, you know, that it's not us losing our minds. It's men finding themselves. Great point. Great. Right on time. Finding their worth. Thank you, Mr. Tate. Finding their worth. That's what's happening. That's not a crisis. Ron Lawson, what up, bro? Good to see you in here. That's not a crisis. That's a correction. We need more correction. We do. Blizzard abroad. I don't know when people start thinking that I advocate for. I've heard somebody say this. Oh, Blizzard, you want to stick up for America. You want men to stay in America. No, I don't. I've never said that. I've never said that. Not once. Not once have you ever heard me say that men need to stay in America. I said men that leave America need to stop looking down on the men who choose to stay in America. That's what I said. Everybody gets to choose their own path. That's what I said. So salute to the brothers that have woken up, that have chose to correct. I ain't mad at you, man. I call myself a future expat. Why'd I ever advocate for men to stay stuck? I'm just not there yet, but I will get there. You know? So no, it's not a crisis. It's a correction. I'm gonna say it a bunch of times, man, because I thought I went through this 4 years ago. I thought I was having a midlife crisis, but I wasn't. It was me waking up and going through that agony of correction because it was not easy to change the way I thought for the last 20, 25 years. That I wasn't worth it, that everybody else came before me. It's not easy when you've conditioned yourself. And I won't blame society for that because I went along with it. And that's the difference between me and a lot of people and men that think like me and a lot of people because they will blame everybody else. And I'll come up here and say, no, I went along with that shit. Whether they were wrong for telling me it, I went along with it for many, many years. Not anymore. Not anymore. And it's not easy. It's not easy to change that 20. Some people, some men have been living that way, thinking that way, sacrificing that way for way longer than I did, you know? So when they wake up and finally say, damn, let me do something for myself, maybe my happiness matters. That's not a crisis, man. That's enlightenment. Let's be real. I'm not saying, you know, throw everything away. Don't continue to take care of your responsibilities if you have them. Don't continue to raise your kids if you have kids, or don't just quit your job, sell everything, and move. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this is the start of the awakening, of the journey, right? Men are waking up. Who's going to be there to talk to them as they're waking up? It's like they're coming out of a deep sleep. Who's going to be there? Who's going to be there to talk to them? There are some wonderful brothers out there that are speaking, some women too. I follow women there's some red pill women out there. I think they deliver the message better than a lot of the red pill men, to be honest. You know, the red pill serves its purpose when you wake up. It really does. That it can be very motivating. But when you come out of that, you know, twice. Ron Lawson, I've been there twice. Yeah, salute, brother. Salute. Yeah, I've been to the Philippines twice. 2 weeks and 2 weeks. So I'm not an expert on the Philippines, but I love it. I enjoyed my time there. Definitely will return there. You know, Ryan says a woman uses men for sex, money, and treat them like dirt. Not true of all women, but yes, some women. And honestly, um, it's being pushed on the women too, younger and younger, at younger and younger ages, that this is the way. Ratchet culture, whole culture. If I can speak frankly, the whole culture is being pushed. It is, and it didn't just start today. You know, maybe it's always been around. It just wasn't out there because there was shame. Now, shame is damn near non-existent in some parts of society. So I wouldn't say all men, but yeah, I mean all women, but yeah, some of them do. You know, that's reality. But that's why we need to have talks, about how to navigate life for young men. As much as we need correction, as much as we need correction for women, we need it for men too, young men. You know. So I'm gonna open up the panel. If you guys want to come up and talk, man, have you been through this? How did you feel when you finally realized, that you were living a life that wasn't meant for you, or that you no longer wanted to live? What was that like? Was there a catalyst for it? Was there a certain situation or instance that snapped you out of that deep sleep? And what did you do with that? Who did you follow? Who did you listen to? Where did you go? If you left, you went abroad, what was that like? I want to hear your stories, man. I want to talk to y'all, man. You know, what do you call it? Crisis or correction, man? Because I don't believe that this is a crisis at all, man. I believe not in the old sense. I believe that this is it's a correction for some men. They're not even in midlife yet, man. Some of our younger men are doing this, and they're being successful doing it, man. You know, maybe everybody needs maybe everybody, if this is a crisis, maybe everybody needs a crisis in their life. You know what I'm saying? So um but it's changed, man. It's changed a lot. And I think if you're old enough to remember back in the days what a midlife crisis used to look like, it ain't this. It's not this. Something totally different. But this is what I believe. I believed I was having a midlife crisis, a couple years ago when I was going through it, man. So I'll open up the stream. I didn't even set Nightbot up, so I'll probably do that. I'll do that too while I'm here. Yeah, there's the link. Let me get Nightbot up here so I can set that up. Anybody want to come up, talk, or y'all just want to listen to me? That's kind of why I do my stream that way, because I don't want to just push my point of view on people. I want other people to also talk and get their points of view out, man. I just want to change this. Yeah, I ain't do the topic or nothing, man. I'll take that off. Take that off for tonight, man. But all in all, man, I do appreciate you guys. Just showing up, man. Change this link. Nightbot. Anybody do anything? Anybody do anything today, man? Get into anything, man? Special? Sound just like you. Update. There it is. Now I could just type link in there. This should go. On what point, Mr. Tate? What point? Not wanting to push my views on people? So I'll just keep going, man. If y'all don't want to come on, I'm gonna just keep going, man. Yeah. There you go, Ron Lawson. Ron says, I'm in the fourth quarter of my life. And it's like things in life become so clear to me now. I wish I knew sooner. Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you're talking about. But it feels like you have to go through it. If you didn't go through the things you went through, who knows what type of person you would be, you know? I was talking to my mom earlier and she was like, oh, I'm just going to be real with y'all. I don't want to say everything she said, but basically she was like, some of y'all talking about her kids went this way and some of y'all went the other way. And she was like, you went the other way and you're in the gang, you were the leader of the gang, like just my life, my history. And it's true, and I wasn't trying to make an excuse. I said, Ma, you don't know, I could have been a lawyer and then a crooked piece of shit lawyer and then a piece of shit person. Maybe I needed to go through the things that I went through, to become this person that I am today, man. To have this heart that I have. That's not an excuse. Just a reason. Drew says he took the missus shopping for Western wear for a group trip later this month. that's going to have a cowboy cowgirl attire. Salute, brother. Salute, man. Do shit like that. Excuse my language, man. I love that, bro. I love that, man. What up, Cisco? How you doing, bro? Good to see you in here, man. Yeah, I love that, man. Keep doing you, man. Take care of the missus, man. That's important. It's really important, man. Like Cisco comes in here, always respects his wife, man. I appreciate always doing things with his wife, man. Salute to y'all, man. Salute, Cisco. It's good to see you in here, man. You know, so the old crisis. So since I'm gonna go ahead with this. The old crisis, right? It had a window, and it was usually 40 to 55, right? Um, the triggers were, a stalled career, um, age starting to creep up on you, fading youth, or just boredom and domestic routine, right? But the way that they coped with it back in the days is different than the way we do now. You know what I mean? Back in the day, they would make like a random, unexpected, what seems like an irresponsible purchase. Like I said, a Corvette. You know what I mean? This dude been driving a jalopy his whole life, or something regular. Um, he goes out and buys a Corvette. You know, starts working out extra hard or something. Um, gets a toupee, dyes his beard back black. You know what I mean? Has a fling with a younger woman. You know that, but he didn't change all the other shit in his life. You know what I mean? Like he still went to that job every day, still put in the work. Maybe still came home to his wife every day, sucked it up, did what he had to do. You know, um, so they were distracted. They distracted themselves, but they stayed in the system. They stayed in the system. They kept playing the game. Um, they didn't change, man. They just changed the tune. They changed their colors. They changed their outfit. You know, men today are changing entire structures. They're walking away. They say men don't leave marriages, but they're leaving them more, or they're refusing to even get married. You know what I'm saying? They're quitting. They're quitting jobs that they don't feel that they have a future in. You know, they're relocating. They're opting out, even on dating apps. The numbers are down for men on dating apps in the West, right? And the age has shifted. It's not 40 to 55 anymore, man. It's 20s. It's happening in the 20s, man. So, um, the difference is kind of like, was it impulse back then? And today it's more like waking up from that deep slumber with intention. It's primarily because we see more men talking about it, you know? So if you're young and you're here in the chat, let me know something, man. Let me know. If you're 35 and under, are you already fed up? You can put it in the chat. I don't know how many of you guys in here are under 35. If you're 35 and under, put it in the chat. Are you already fed up with the system here in the West? Are you done with the old playbook? Are you ready to just throw the whole playbook out? You know what I mean? And then for the older guys, I got one for you. If you're over 40, how does the way you feel right now differ from how your dad would have felt or your grandfather would have felt um, when it concerning a midlife crisis? You know what I'm saying? So Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Ryan, let me go back and read some of these text messages. Text messages. Let me go back and read the chat. Cisco saying what up to everybody. Salute. See you again. Juice says I've done the same. Kamal says I've done the same with the cowboy dancing. They was playing that song at the wedding today where they snapped the damn the fans. What the hell is the name of that? Boots on the ground. Snap, snap. I was like, what the hell? Juice says, Cisco, what up, bro? I watched the live stream at Lake Kauai. One of the comments just thought you said you were hiking in Korea. Yeah, man, I had to get off cows live. Been a long day. I don't know what I missed it, man. What happened? What I miss? I was at a wedding. What I missed, man? So salute. Weddings, there are still weddings happening in America, guys. So I'm just saying that. I'm just saying. I've been to like the last 4 years, ever since this whole gender war thing. I've been to a lot of weddings. I can't say they're gonna last. I know my nephew's wedding is gonna last. So I know it. He says, "Yeah, man, not my cup of tea, but I guess we got to be social." Y'all got to tell me what happened, man. Now I'm gonna be nosy, man. Y'all teasing me now. I got Ryan in the back. I'm gonna let you up, bro. You ready? Ryan, you hear me? Yeah, like you sleep, man. I'm gonna wait. Oh, he dropped. Oh, okay. He said nothing wrong with the live. Blizzard, we just had a long day. Still dealing with a little BS regarding our height today. Okay. Ron Lawson says, I've had more opportunities than my dad, and I spent more time with my kids than my dad. I agree. Me too. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree 100%, man. I've had way more opportunities than him. My dad got shit. My dad got drafted to Vietnam. So even even that right there just says a lot. He got drafted to Vietnam. You know. Kamal says right. It was a better time than anticipated, though I'm no square dancer. Yeah. he says, I dislike that boots on the ground garbage. Sisters love gimmick line dances and stuff. Yeah, it's just something to do, man. Like, I don't know. I don't like it. It just looks cheesy, to me personally. But the Let Your Slide came on, we hit that. The Let Your Slide came on. We hit that. I can't say nothing about the Let Your Slide. I've been doing it since I was a kid. So, all right, Ryan, you ready now? I think you were frozen. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. There you go. All right. You got Ryan in here, man. What's going on, man?
I'm doing good, man. Yourself?
I'm doing good. Salute, man. You got Frank Tate in the building. You got
Frank in
Mr.
the house.
Give me a thumbs up, Mr. Tate. I'll let you on. You ready?
Mr. T in the house.
Ready? All right, I'm gonna let him up. Mr. Tate, how you doing, bro? I seen you with our boy, with you and your wife, with our boy AJ. So salute to him. Salute to your wife. I forgot the.
Right, doing fine. I had to get off of my cell phone and come in and get on the laptop.
All right. I think this is a good topic, man. Like I don't really struggle to come up with topics. It's just what I'm thinking about.
I know the feeling. Yeah.
But let me say something to you, Ryan. Let me say something to you real quick, man.
Yeah.
You better email me, bro. so we could talk about this shirt I'm gonna send
I
you.
know. I
Did you
know.
email me?
It's sort of. I tried to email you. It didn't come. It didn't bounce back on me.
Oh,
It
okay.
literally bounced back on me.
All right,
So I did it to Messenger, Facebook Messenger instead. I found your Facebook thing.
Oh, okay.
I
I
found your
don't go on
Facebook
Facebook.
profile. I sent it in there. It's in the
Yeah, I
Facebook
don't go on
Messenger.
Facebook, but
Check that.
I'll check it. All right, I'll check it when we get off.
Check that.
I was about to say, man, I was about to say, damn, I don't want to give it away to somebody else, but I'll check that and then we'll handle that.
Yeah.
So if y'all don't know, every Wednesday,
I don't
I'm gonna put a random word into Nightbot. A random word. The first person to say that word, it should trigger Nightbot now, and I'm gonna send them a shirt. I'll take care of all the shipping. I don't care where you're at. I'll send it to Russia if I have to. But I'm gonna take care of all the shipping, and it doesn't have to be your home address. It could be a UPS store, a FedEx store, whatever. Just let me know where you want me to ship it, and I'm gonna ship it. All right, every Wednesday. So, Mr. Tate, how you doing, man? You got some input about this topic?
Oh yeah, can you hear me clearly first?
Yep, I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now man, it is a correction in life. Okay. After you done had a family, the kids are usually grown by the time you're in your 40s or your 50s. All right. You may have wanted that Corvette, but couldn't buy it because of the responsibilities that you had to your family. You bought that van so that you could get everybody in the car to take them wherever they had to go. Buying a Corvette would have been totally impractical. So now the kids are grown. Okay. Your money belongs to you again. You don't have to spend all of your money on everybody else worrying about who needs shoes, who needs a coat, who needs this, who needs that. I got to pay for college for this. I got to pay for high school for this. And all of a sudden, that money is back in your pocket. So you go out and you buy that Corvette, okay? Because you had been wanting it, okay, back in your 20s.
Yeah.
But hey, you ended up with a kid, ended up with a wife or an old lady, and you had to do the responsible thing. So it's just a correction. It's not a midlife crisis when your money comes back to you instead of you doing everything for everybody else but yourself. Now, that's the way I look at it. At least
I
that's the way
agree.
it was for me.
I agree. I
Because, yeah,
agree.
I bought that Corvette.
Do
And I
you
went out and bought me
remember?
some motorcycles and did whatever I wanted to do.
Let me ask you a question though. Do you remember, or if you maybe you didn't, but I think you did. Do you remember the amount of guilt you felt when you started trying to even think about putting yourself first? Did you feel like that guilt that I felt?
Oh, man, look, let me tell you something. I used to walk around with holes in my shoes, okay? At 40, and like I'm 70 years old now. Okay, at 40, I had to be making something like about $75,000 a year. Now, back then, that was the equivalent of a guy making about $100,000 now.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm walking around with holes in my shoes because I just feel so bad when I spend money on myself and didn't get things for the family.
Yeah.
Now that's a shame, making that much money and you got a hole in your shoe and won't take your behind to the shoe store and buy you some new shoes.
Yeah. I agree. Because I was the same way. Like
Is that the way you felt?
I would actually plan stuff to do for myself and always find an excuse. Every single time I would find something that needed to get done before I could do something for myself. Somebody needed something, and I would actually find myself going to look for that, you know. But waking up, when I finally even started
See,
thinking
and
like I'm gonna
we
put myself first, when I started thinking about it, I felt so much guilt is because I just wasn't used to it. I think a lot of us feel that. Yeah.
see, and women today, they don't give us our props for making those sacrifices like that. They don't. They think we just love to give our money away. That we work hard day, night, all the overtime that you
Yeah.
can. And you don't get to spend none of that money. You end up with just enough money to put gas in the car and to buy your lunch and to go to work. Man, look,
I agree.
I even felt, oh man, my clothes were so old. Okay, I wouldn't even want to go out and try to buy anything fashionable anymore. My suits were old and out of style. Okay, but I wouldn't spend money.
Yeah.
Now it ain't like that no more.
There you go. Like I would buy myself some shirts and stuff from here and there. I would actually would, but I wouldn't wear them. I fucking work all the time. So once I bought the shirt, it sit in the closet brand new for months and months and months, sometimes years. Like I wouldn't even, because all I did, if you seen me, and anybody that know me, because a few years ago, if you seen me, you seen me in a work uniform or my coaching uniform. That was it. That was it. With new clothes sitting in the damn closet hanging up. Because I ain't never wear them. I just that
What
was my
about you,
life.
Ryan?
Me? Oh, I'm lucky I'm single. I mean, I try to save money and stuff to buy. Don't you laugh, Mister? I had to try to save money when I was like working and stuff. I mean, I'm still saving money to this day, actually. So I save a lot of money. I buy stuff if I need something, new clothes, but a suit, they're expensive these days. But how I got my new suit, but because of other means, how I got money from that for that. So I save my money, but if I need a new car or something, I save the money for that and put that aside for that in another separate account and use that money to buy himself a new car or something if I need it.
So
But at the
Ryan,
moment,
you're my age, basically. You're my age. So have you
I'll be
felt this?
with you.
Have you
Thanks very much.
felt um like you're going through a midlife crisis? Have you
Well,
felt it?
yeah,
Like
true.
it doesn't have to be about a
Um,
woman or family, you know.
no,
It could just be
no,
about the way you've lived your life.
just life. That's normal stuff. That's life, really. Just
Yeah.
life. You go through stuff in life and you bite on the
I
ass.
got
Well,
Joseph. I got Joseph in the background. Joseph, I'm about to bring you up, bro. I can't see you, so I'm gonna just bring you up.
Wishy Queen's in the house. Wish,
Wish she's
wishy.
in here. Okay, I'm getting behind
Hey,
him.
what's up, Joseph?
Hi,
Uh,
beautiful Miss Wishy. How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. K?
Let me read these comments. Let me get to the bottom of these comments, Joseph. Then I'm gonna give you the floor, all right? Uh Cisco says Ron Lawson, my dad was very successful in his career, but it definitely cost him a lot of time at home when he missed out on a lot of time with my younger brother and sisters. Yep. He says I agree. What's the underlying issue of a midlife crisis? All the things I mentioned before. Um, not feeling unappreciated at work and relationships, realizing that you lived your life for everybody else instead of yourself. You foregone your dreams, your wishes, your hopes, because now you have to give others hope. You have to fulfill other people's wishes and dreams. Like Mr. Tate said, sacrificing, even buying new shoes, walking around with holes in his shoes to feed his family, wanting that Corvette for 20 years and not being able to get it. And even if you had the money, a lot of them, they wouldn't get it. Right? Am I lying? Am I lying about any of that? You may have had the money to buy that Corvette, but you wouldn't think of buying it while you had kids in that house because it was not responsible. You needed that minivan. I had a minivan. I went and bought a minivan. I would have 12 kids in the back of that thing, go to football practice. So Cisco says most of us try to be problem solvers for our loved ones and carry that weight of being responsible. People think it happens by magic or something, but it takes hard work and sacrifice. Absolutely, a lot of hard work, a lot of unrecognized hard work. Sometimes, a lot of people fighting against you, fighting against your hard work. Society fighting against your word, your influence. You got to fight society nowadays. So Joseph, you got the floor, brother. How you doing, man? What you feel about this topic?
Hey, can you hear me? Is this
Yes, sir. I hear you.
cool? Um, I don't, I'm not, I'm hearing what you're saying. But I'm not going through anything remotely close to a midlife crisis. More like I guess, um, midlife renaissance. So I'm finding my stride finally in my career, um, doing the things I've always wanted to do, or more of that. But I've never struggled with a sense of a lack of identity in terms of like the things I enjoy doing. Um, but also knowing that, um, so for example, I dance, something that I enjoy doing just randomly. That's for exercise, cardio. When people walk, when people jog, I dance. I work out when I want to. I go to the beach when I want to. Make travel plans on the whim when I want to. But all of this is largely because I don't have those responsibilities as of yet. The children, the girlfriend, the wife, just me. So that's the pro. I guess the con would be there are times where I have a sense of wanting that responsibility that you guys are talking about. So a it's weird. Like it doesn't sound good when you say it, but it's also like this is I'm willing to make that sacrifice for those things that you guys are coming out of. You're just coming out of it, but
Yeah.
in a weird way, I'm looking to actively get into it, which is almost like going into a hurricane in a way, which is
Yeah. I,
weird. I
I,
don't know
I
how.
don't think so. I'll explain it this way, and you might have heard me say it before. Like, I'm not saying to not find a woman, find a partner, have kids. It's a beautiful thing, but take time for yourself. That's what I always say. We forgot about ourselves completely. We gave it all up for our families. We did. That was wrong. And I said, if I could do it again, it's not that I wouldn't start a family, settle down with a woman. I said, I would do those little things for myself along the way because I would have been happier and in turn they would have been happier.
Uh, so you won't have that ting of, I guess, regret of not having doing the things. I mean, in a way, it's kind of like you look at your kid and you realize the money that you're spending on this person, that one trip that you always wanted to go to, you realize that I have to wait 15 years, or when am I ever going to do the things I want to do? But then maybe there's a sense of guilt that comes from even having that thought alone, let alone
Yeah.
vocalizing it to people like, hey, this is, and then people will attack you. But like, wait, what about your kid? Like, what about your responsibilities? And it's like, I'm not saying I don't want the responsibility. So now you have men who don't even want to speak about doing the things that the both of you are doing. You, Mr. Frank, and you, Blizzard. Like you're doing the things that you want to do. Now kids are grown. but you couldn't vocally say or verbalize this is what I want to do without people giving you the side eye.
Yeah.
So, but I don't have that issue. It's like I'm doing things, I'm doing it purposely, intentionally, not having kids and realizing, okay, I have this window of time to go to Brazil, to go to Philippines, to go to Switzerland, and not have to cross-reference with anybody, not have to check in with anybody. It's just
Yeah.
myself. So it's a whole lot of freedom that comes with that. But there's also a weird malaise that comes with that as well. This 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 also this desire to want to have what you guys have already been through. Which is
Yes.
again, I'm
Legacy.
dealing
A
with
family.
is
A
I guess
family.
that's what it is. But
Legacy.
it's like, man, do I really want to? So for me, it's the opposite. It's me wanting to give up some a level, certain level of a level of freedom that I am accustomed to. And for you, to both of you, it's you adjusting to this level of freedom that I am already enjoying.
Yeah.
So we're like opposite ends of the track, like crossroads. It's like I'm going north, you're coming south, and we're kind of like crossing paths. That's what it feels like in a way. Like, oh, you're going the direction I'm coming from. You're going the direction that I'm coming to.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But I think you did it the right way. You're doing it the right way. If that's what you're searching for. Like you were building yourself up first. You've done some things in your life. I'm not saying I would have bought the Corvette, even if I could have afforded it. Just wouldn't have been responsible. But could I have or went to the Philippines for 2 weeks and I got kids sitting at home? I wouldn't have did that anyway, even if I could have. But could I have could I have went to a 49er game that I had planned instead of canceling it because I thought, I felt guilty that I instead of going to that game, I could be doing something for one of my kids. You know what I mean? Maybe I should have went to that game. Why? Because it would have took a lot of stress off of me, and I saved money for it. You know what I mean? But when it came time to swipe that card, I couldn't do it. You know, I just couldn't bring myself to do it because there was something better I could be doing with that money for somebody else. You know,
Oh man, my
so it
my
ain't
mind.
it ain't even the big things in life. It's just anything. Honestly,
Like I'm really. It's crazy. While I'm hearing what you're saying, I'm like the complete opposite in terms of I'm actually very selfish. So for me, it's having to break that
yeah,
level
oh yeah,
or temper down this level, this customization of me spending my money however way I want to, going where I want to, my time when I want it, how I want it. So I'm having to dial it back actually. You're trying to ramp it up. You're trying to get used to where I'm
yeah.
like, oh, this is normal. I'm trying to come back. I'm trying to like an equilibrium. So it's not me trying to be completely altruistic or I'm giving myself so much to the point where I become miserable or I start to resent the people that I'm giving to. So for me, it's I'm so selfish. I'm so over
No, I
filling
get it. I get it. I
that
mean,
I'm like
I've been
I
a
need to.
dad since I was 23, so it's different. You know,
Oh
I was
wow.
I was young. I was young,
So
so it's
you didn't really
different.
have any time to no, you didn't have any time essentially to do the things you wanted to do that I've done in my 20s. Like just like make mistakes or do a lot of wild, crazy things. Maybe get that
No,
fast car.
I made them.
I've done those
I
things.
made some mistakes. I made them way younger than most people, I guess, would. But as far as living that uh mid
Now,
20s, later 20s, that wilding and go doing what I want to do, and like, nah, I didn't have that. You know, Mr. Tate, you want to say something? Go ahead.
here's one thing that I didn't mention. Yeah, almost all of my life, I've taken 20% of what I made in bank and invested. Okay, now, so what I'm saying is, yes, I felt guilty if I spent money, but I had money. I always had lots of money in the bank. Okay. But I always looked at that as my retirement because you don't know your job might let you go. Things happen. So you have to try to keep money up so that if something happens, you've got money to be able to handle that. But the thing is, mentally, you put it in your mind that you don't have. And that's why you never go into it. And it sits there. And so that's the thing. Once I retired, then it made it easier for me to be able to come over here, okay, in the Philippines. And like you probably heard, I had only planned to be here for 4 months. And I've been here for over 6 years.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
heard
how
that.
I
Yeah,
could do that because I have a pension and I got, hundreds of thousands of dollars saved up. So that makes life easy for me. Okay. I don't have anything to worry about. If something was to happen to my pension check, I would still have nothing to worry about because I stuck to that regimented thing of putting that 20% to the side. And that's what a lot of us can't do.
yeah,
See, I had people always asking me because I would be driving a little Ford Escort or something like that, a little small, cheap car. And people would ask me, why do you buy those little cars, Frank? Why do you do that, man? You could be driving a Cadillac if you want to. See, but they didn't understand. I'm saving money, okay? I could go and buy a little $10,000, $12,000 car and keep that money stashed. And the
yeah,
thing is, I got paid for my mileage with my job because I did work out in the field, so I got paid for my mileage, so that was more money. Then you put the money in the investments. That's more money, and it adds on to that money. That way, like I said, when you get ready to retire, you straight.
yeah,
You don't have to worry about anything. If you lose your job, you don't have to worry about anything. You got money put up where you could live for years without even working if you want to. And so that's the way we have to think if we want to get ahead. And also, so that when that fourth quarter of our life is over with, there is something to give down to your kids. There's something there. There's an inheritance because that's something that does not happen to a lot of our families.
yeah,
There's nothing to pass on to the next generation to make their life easier so that they can try to build. And that's why you have to try to teach your children the responsibility to pass things on to the next generation for them to build and become even bigger. And the only thing that you could hope is that your kids are not stupid and get the money and blow it.
yeah,
But if they're smart and they understand, hey, this is money to invest to make sure that I'm going to move up and my children are going to move up, then hey man, it's a fantastic thing to be able to do.
absolutely. I agree. Let me read this comment. I'm gonna see what you guys think about this. Uh, Unfiltered Black Abroad says, I kind of feel like I'm having a midlife crisis at 30. Exchanging my time for money is draining me. Soon I have to pivot from working at 9 to 5 to owning a business so I can get my time back. And I agree. I agree. But just be careful. Just be careful what type of business you want to get into. Because a lot of what they don't tell you, with all these entrepreneur gurus, they don't tell you is that a lot of small businesses, when you're a business for yourself, you work twice the amount of hours. Yeah, you working for yourself, you supporting yourself, but you may be working
Yeah,
twice the amount of time. So just be careful, choose the right field. I support that absolutely, but choose the right field because you get into the wrong one, you're gonna be doing twice as many hours you doing now. So, But salute, brother. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead,
But
Frank.
if he's going into business for himself, he needs to make sure that he has enough money to run that business for 3 to 5 years.
Hmm.
Because most businesses fail within 3 to 5 years because they don't have the cash to be able to do the things that they need to do. So it's always good to do that or be able to get a line of credit from your financial institution so that you will be able to get money when you need it for the business. And I'm telling you this through experience. I was a revenue officer for the Internal Revenue Service, and I used to have to go into businesses and make a determination because that business owed money to the government. And I made the determination as to whether or not that business could stay open or whether I would close it down and sell everything that the business had to make up for the money that was owed. And the thing is, so many of those people did not think ahead, did not have the line of credit that they needed or the money put up in the bank, okay, so that they could cover if something went wrong, if their accounts receivables, all right, all
Hmm.
of a sudden weren't paid. And also make sure you do that.
Absolutely, I agree.
Okay, that's it.
I agree.
As far as,
Um,
I guess, the way I do business, it, I guess it's kind of different. I don't even know what I do is considered the typical business, as in employees and so forth, which is 95% of businesses. But I got into trading, um, currencies, indices, and such. Not so much stocks. And that's more, I guess that's an independent type of deal. So it's kind of like a cross between small business, investor, passive, but not passive. So it's a little weird of a mix. Um, but there's a price that I've had to pay up until recently to achieve what success that I was able to have just so I can hit this stride that I had a couple of years trying to find the right thing. I always say when there's blood in the water, there are sharks. So in the kind of business I'm in, because everyone knows that they think stocks, they think money automatically, which is the truth. But the path to get there can be exceedingly difficult. It's kind of like people think you snap your fingers, you can click a button, you make money, and that's true. But you also have to know what you're doing. Typically, you're going to go to someone who says they know what they're doing. You're going to pay X amount of money. That's going to be your expense. Is you're going to fail dozens of times. You're going to blow countless accounts unless you find someone who knows what they're doing, who's not going to give you the ring around trying to play a money game with you. So, and most people in the game are sharks. I always say I hate the business of trading, but I love trading itself. So it took me a long time to figure out what my strategy is so I can do it in such a way in which I'm not making being on the computer my job, because you can make that mistake too, where you're making a lot of money, but you're basically substituting the job that you have for a high paying job, and it's a lot more stress, but you're making
yeah,
a lot of money. So, but a lot of people don't think about that. So you try to figure out a balance where you're making very good money, but you're also removing yourself from the chart. It is difficult. But so this idea that he has of not having a 9 to 5 job, I actually tell people you're better off keeping it. Like I don't, business is not, even in trading stocks or whether you have a traditional brick and mortar business or even online business, there's going to be a sacrifice you're going to have to pay. You are going to put in, like Blizzard said, not double, 3 times as much time, 3 times as many hours. And these are hours that you're not going to even be able to mentally calculate. You're going to say, okay, I think I put in 60 hours. In reality, you probably put in close to 80 or 90, which is why I can get away with it because I don't have the kids and the family and all that. I knew that it was going to take a lot of energy to do that. That was the risk I was willing to take.
yeah.
And if you have a family and kids, are you willing to? There's going to be some sacrifices there. They're not going to get as much attention as you think they should get. It's not possible for
I was
you to
gonna
get.
ask you that. How many hours you typically put in a day
Oh, it used to
working?
be 2 or 3 years ago, just studying, practicing, losing money, losing a lot of money, a couple of thousand, making thousands, da 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 da. Easily 80, 90 hours a week. That's just looking at the charts. That's just specifically what I do. But that's just not unique to my business. It's any business. Anything that you're starting that's brand new, you're gonna put in an intense. It's like an obsession. It's almost dangerous in a way. You become obsessed with it. You become like a crazy person, and then when you become efficient with it, once you get the hang of it, okay, I got it. Then you start to scale back the hours. Then the 80 hours a week becomes 40, 40 becomes 20. Now in my case, it becomes like an hour a day. But it took years to scale that down to that point, and then still there's no guarantee of success. It's crazy. Whereas with a job, which I understand a lot of people hate to have, in some ways I envy them. I almost wish I had not done what I did, but since I was so far into it, I was like, I might as well go ahead and finish what I started. Hopefully, if I succeed. Whereas someone who has a 9 to 5 job, like Mr. Frank here, who works for the IRS, makes 100K a year, you know you're going to get a certain amount of money every single week. I still don't know. I know if I'm making X amount, $100 today, I might make $500 tomorrow, $800 the next day, lose $200 the next day. You never know. And that level of stress in my business or any other business is always perpetually going to be there.
That's a
It's going to
lot of
come up.
stress.
So it's not just stocks. It's it's any business that you start where it's a job. Okay, you clock in, you go to work. Yeah, I hate the job. I hate the routine. I hate the monotony. But there's there's always going to be, you basically pick your poison. You're going to pick, you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you eat chocolate, then if you eat too much of it, you get diabetes. If you eat a lot of healthy foods, you're going to crave the chocolate cake. And now you can become obsessed with trying to get more chocolate cake. And you eat too much. So it's going to be some sort of balance. But in reality, I don't think there is a balance. You're going to have to basically choose your path, choose your crazy. Now we'll finish on this point. If he really wants to do the entrepreneur route, um, because I was raised that way, my first job was a candy store business. That's all I've ever known. So for me, it was more natural for me to get into that. When I actually went from owning my own candy store successfully to suddenly being put in the job market, it confused me. I had no choice but to do the path I took. So, which is the envy in some ways when I see someone who has a steady career. I'm like, man, I would like that stability, which is comes back to me wanting to have a family, but it requires stability.
Yeah.
So, so they have this idea of what being an entrepreneur is like. It's great when it works. It sucks when it don't. And it's going to suck most of the time, but they're not. So he if the grass is green on the other side, you're seeing the other side and you're thinking and imagining what life would be if you work for yourself or you have employees or you do what I do, which you kind of work for yourself and you make all this money, so to speak, but you will lose a lot of money before you make all that money. Can you handle that? And a lot of people are simply not conditioned, which I believe is something that is best if it's taken care of as early as possible in life to handle that. Because even me being able to handle it, I'm like, man, I don't want to do this shit anymore. But because I'm so far in, and it's because it's all I know, I'm compelled to just continue to do it. So if he has to pick what path he wants to go, I'm just giving you the reality of it, in addition to the benefits of it, and the
Yeah.
reason why having a 9 to 5 job is actually you you
He
you're probably better off than most people. You're probably better off than me.
he hey, if it's a good idea, run with it,
Can I
man.
ask you a
But if
question?
not, just be careful. You know what I mean? Go ahead. For Joseph,
Um, do you have any employees?
None. I'm well, I just say stock trader. Just keep it simple.
No.
That's what I do. I do trade stock industry.
Okay.
Um,
Have you have you incorporated yourself, or are you like an LLC, or are you putting your when you file your taxes, you just doing it as a sole proprietorship?
it's sole proprietorship, and like I said, I just started having consistency. I was making money, which is how I got to Brazil last year, but it was inconsistent. But I just recently started finding consistency within the last month. I found something that was like, oh damn, this actually works. So it's throwing a bunch of shit at the wall, and so I haven't done a whole LLC. The bit for me in my mind, it's like to me that's pointless until I start getting consistently profitable. Then I can go back and say, okay, let me do the paperwork, make sure my taxes are right. But the priority for me is make money first. Be profitable. Okay, you're profitable. Now I can go and lay down, add these other elements to what a proper business should look like. So I haven't even gotten to that point yet, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Yeah, salute, Bruce. Salute, Thomas
Well,
Marshall.
the
How y'all
good
guys
thing
doing?
about maybe making yourself the good thing about making yourself a corporation is that you protect yourself and your assets, and that's a good thing to do, especially now that you're starting to make profit.
Yeah, I'm gonna take your advice because you're the IRS guy, so I'm not gonna play with that. I mean, but it is hard to kind of see it that way because it's like, ooh, the money's starting to come in, and so, but you're like grounding me in a way in which, okay, like, wait a second, let me back up, get this LLC, do the things I said I was going to do, because it's easy to lose sight of the things I said I was going to do legally when the money starts coming in, and it's like, oh, it's like, oh, okay, focus on the business part, focus on laying down the funds, focus on the LLC. So I'm working on that, and that's going to be a learning curve in itself. That's another aspect of business that he's going to have to deal with. He's probably thinking about the money and oh yeah, I'm gonna make profit, but yeah, all the other legalities. There's a reason why Mr. Frank probably shut down quite a few businesses and looked at a lot of account receivables and realized these people don't got this shit together. So he's not thinking about that. Employees don't have to worry
Yeah,
about that. They just go
but
in, clock in, go to work, and just pay their bills. But you have to
but
imagine paying everyone else's bills. It's
but
just
if it's not fulfilling to him, if he's unhappy in what he's doing, who are we to tell him to suck that up? So in 20 years from now, he actually is the dealing with the topic of today's stream. You know what I mean?
the midlife crisis.
You know what I mean? So we gotta.
Yeah.
All we're saying is be careful, and know what you're getting yourself into, because a job could be the catalyst for a midlife crisis. You work 40 years for a fucking company and you're miserable. That seeps into other. Hope it shouldn't, but it does seep over into other aspects of your life, man. I see it every day. Miserable people at work. I had this guy at my job. I would tell him, bro, you need to quit, because all he did was
Complain.
complain about the job every single day, to the point where I knew this dude since high school, and I wouldn't go anywhere near him at work. Like if I see him coming, I'm going the other way. You ain't about to ruin my night. I'm having a good night. I don't want to talk about like I'm dead ass. So he was miserable, and I didn't understand why he wouldn't quit and go find another job. He had a CDL. He could have been somewhere else making good money, but he chose that job. He got comfortable. I don't know what it was, but I know he'd be
Well,
a hell. He may have been
How
miserable
many
even if he
years did
did
he
go
have
somewhere.
these?
Not that many, 6 or 7. Like
it could be
six or
boredom too.
6 or 7.
Boredom.
Because
I
a
think
lot of
boredom.
us stick to a job because we get close to retirement,
Yeah, no, he my age. He
and
ain't
we don't
getting
want to
nowhere
lose
near.
that retirement money, so we just put up with it.
I feel like boredom. I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems like boredom would be that thing that causes some people like that your coworker to flip the switch and go like, I don't want to do this no more. Is it because it's kind of like it's the monotony of it all, the same, and some people are just wired in a certain way in which they need variety in the sense that a business will give you that variety. It'll
Yeah,
give you that. It'll give you that excitement, but um, I don't know. I just feel like some people don't know what they're. They think they want something different, but then if they try something different, it may not even be for them. They realize, oh, but maybe that's what they have to go through. They just have to find out that different thing that they thought was going to be utopia for them may not be that for them at all, or it could be. I
yeah,
mean, I guess it's better for them to try it than to never try it at all because you know you don't want to be. in your last breath talking about I wish I started that business and I was working that job, I should have quit. Even if they had done it and they realized they didn't like it, at least they get to say I didn't like it. And they that's that free will choice to go back to something else that they do like and find that whatever it is that they do like. But to never
Yeah,
try it, I think a lot of people suffer through that. So they keep
yeah,
their job because it's comfortable and because it is a steady
'cause-
check.
yeah,
So it's hard to break
yeah,
away from that. That it depends on the person. Some people it could be golden chain. Some people it's a silver chain. If you're making over six figures, and it's gonna be hard to quit that. But if you're working like at Amazon, yeah, a lot of people that complain about that. I know because I used to Uber for them. Drop them off at the Amazon. I know, oh, okay, I know where they're going.
miserable.
Based on their attitude in the morning, they were pissed. I'm like, okay, I didn't even have to look at the app. I know I'm taking you Amazon. So for some people, it's easy to quit. Some people, it may not be so easy to quit. They got a
That's what
house,
I
they got a
said.
mortgage, they
I
got a
was telling
family, kids, a wife.
the dude I work with, he has to do like Amazon sometimes
Well,
early in the morning, and he was like, "Man, that parking lot is a one big weed cloud." I said, "That's what they got to do to get to go in that building, just to deal with the way they get treated in there." You know,
For sure.
I hear they get treated like they damn near, what you call it, half man, half robot. What you call that, cyborg or something? That's how
Right.
they get treated in there, man. So, like I
You can
said,
treat it.
definitely wouldn't tell that young brother Q. I wouldn't tell him just suck it up. Either look for better employment or something you love doing more than what you're doing now, or roll the dice and go into business for yourself. If you can do, if you can ease yourself into it, maybe do that. I don't know. I don't know,
You can't
but
use it.
just be careful. Just be
You just got to do
careful,
it.
especially in a foreign country. Just be
he-
careful, man.
here's
What
one
you do.
thing.
Yeah. But salute. Go ahead, Mr.
Here's
J.
one thing. Once we hit that age where we're about to go through what they want to say is a midlife crisis, okay, you're close to retirement then, okay? And so if you're still taking care of your family, you are kind of afraid to walk away from that job and you're so close to your pension, okay, to open up a business and try to do something else. So a lot of people get stuck and they'll just stay there just so they could make it to have that pension. Now, after that pension, okay, is started, if they have money that they have saved, then they may try to open up a business
Yeah.
and all. So I ran into that a lot when it comes to people because then they've got that pension money, and if the business doesn't work, okay, they still have that pension money to rely on.
Yeah.
And that's assuming that the person, to be frank, lives long enough to even see it. Because, retirement, pension age, people assume that they're going to live a long life. Frank, you're very blessed in the sense that you're 70. You are. But a lot of people, their lives are cut short, so they have these plans of retiring, but they never or living out that dream or starting that business or I'm going to do this and that, and they never get around to it because they assume the next 20 years. So that's they're going off the assumption that may or may not even happen in the future. So um, I guess that's the risk that some people take for security. But then the opposite end is that if you want the freedom, you go gun ho and say, I'm going to go ahead and do what I want to do before retirement. And I'm going to take a chance on myself. You could fail. And most likely you probably will. I mean, people are like, oh, why you say that? Well, no,
That's
no matter what business.
that's that rough thing. That's that rough thing when you hit that third or fourth quarter of your life. It's best to try to start a business in that first and second quarter. In that third and fourth quarter, you probably have so much responsibilities that it
Yeah,
does kind of frighten you to step off.
Yeah,
Get
pension,
off of that as
pay for your kids'
Calvin would say, that
colleges.
hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the
So
guy.
that's a scary time.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, I did it when I was real. I was a teenager, so to me, it's like I'm fulfilled. I guess maybe I don't have that midlife thing of I need to accomplish this because I even if I fail, I'm taking risks and I'm doing it young and still relatively young doing it. So, but I can also understand that sense of I wish I had done these things, so let me, but I'll get around to it 20 years from now. And it's like, yeah, but now you're kind of set in your ways. You have other things. It's kind of, it's not that it's too late, but you're like, you're going
Old,
against
old, you old. That's it. Like you old, man. It
and
ain't nothing
oh,
wrong with getting old, but that's what I'm saying. Like you saying, oh,
I,
you doing this, you know, you old now. You put it off for
I
20
agree too.
years.
Once you get old,
Shit, you know.
also energy. Yeah, you need energy. You're gonna need a lot of because I'm obviously I'm going like a million miles a minute, but that's energy. That's like the energy I'm having on this podcast is me putting. I pour it all into what I do, through failures to success, and I'm like, well, fuck it, I don't care. But you can't have that attitude if you're. I'm guessing you're 50, 60. Now it's a little different. You have to be much more cautious, much more methodical, and I can kind of have like a guns a blazing approach, and it can actually work for me. And a lot of things have worked for me from doing that, but I can afford to do that, and I also have the energy to do it. So if someone said, "Oh, I'm so tired of working my job," but you got a pot belly, when's the last time you picked up a weight? You don't eat right. You're not going to have the energy to put in the 90 hours a week that you would need to start any business to get it
Yes.
off the ground. And that takes an intense amount of energy that I clearly have. That a lot of guys they just tired. No, you can't. You have to actually be energetic at your job and say, okay, I got so much energy. I want to start a business. It can't be I hate my job so much it's wearing me down. And you're assuming that you coming out of the job is going to give you that energy that you need to start a business. No, it has to be before you start the business. Anyway, I'll
Yeah,
stop there.
but it's like, but the thing is that I mean, we're talking about our age and up as far as wanting to not walk away from your job. But nowadays, it's not too many places that you could get a pension. You know, maybe too many places offering pensions now. They pull back on that a lot. You know,
yeah.
there you get a 401k with a
So
with a
if
good
you got
decent
it, if you
match.
got it
Yeah,
covered and you only got a few
yeah,
years, you don't want to lose it.
yeah, yeah. But now, like younger guys, they don't. I don't know where you go. Government jobs, maybe. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. But as far as like private companies in the private sector offering pensions, it ain't that many left around. Um,
That's
so
dumb to
shit.
be
If I
honest.
leave, I could take my 401k with me. You know what I'm saying? So
Uh,
it's just
yeah,
different. It's a different lifetime. I mean lifetime. It's a different just different. It's just different nowadays, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
see, I love the Sean said it.
companies have been trying to get out of doing whatever they have to do for their employees. Like now, a lot of companies, instead of them handling their payroll, they hire a payroll company to handle that so that they don't have to pay pay the
Yes, sir.
employment taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So companies are trying to get out of giving employees anything if they can. They want to make
yeah,
nothing but profit for themselves. And
yeah,
so that's why I was saying you have to take a percentage of whatever you're making and bank it and don't touch it because you never know what's going to happen, especially for you guys that have the 401k plans and that money is going into some type of stock or something like that. With this crazy stuff that's going on with our economy, with this guy that we've got running the country, you never know what's going to happen. So you want to stash money to the side to make sure that you're going to be safe no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Lily wants to say hi to you.
Hi, Brian and Blizzard.
Yes, how are you?
Hi, Lilibet. How you doing?
Good to see you.
It's all right, sis. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Huh? Good to see you. What?
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Okay, sorry about that, fellas.
That's all right. That's all right.
Oh, good.
Well, most of y'all knew her before you knew me, so.
Yeah, he says you better not get divorced because the wife will get half your pension.
Oh God, who said that? Wow.
Thomas Marshall. Salute,
Now,
see? Everybody saying hi to Elizabeth.
I have to be honest. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get married in the Philippines. No divorce.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He said if I could just win this lottery ticket.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't need lottery tickets. Jeez, I feel like we need lottery tickets. Oh,
Somebody gotta win, right? But
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
I know it
It's
ain't gonna be me. It ain't
back.
gonna be me. That's one person I know he ain't gonna win it.
Yeah.
If I get like a tip now, if I get a tip, I'll go a little small tip. I'll go buy a lottery ticket, man. What the hell? You know, wasn't expecting it. He says, so if you're unhappy, you stay with her anyway. Not me. I've done it. I've stayed longer than I should have, but I've left like when it was the time, you know.
Yeah. I stayed in the job for 12 years. What? Hospitality for 12 years. 12 years of my life. It was terrible. I was, staying on concrete all night, all after night into the morning. Last time I got out was nearly 3 o'clock in the bloody morning. So I worked in hospitality, worked with the horse trainers. Oh boy, don't get me started on horse trainers. Thinking they're nice people? No, they're not. They're all assholes.
I always say I stayed in a relationship. I stayed 2 years too long.
Yeah, they're 12 years too long.
Wait, who you said who is the smoker? That's Frank Tate, man.
Frank.
He be in Calvin Channel sometime. That's Thomas Marshall. That's who's a smoker. That's Mr. Tate. He said, man, that's better than
That's
me.
the only vice that I
The moment he's irritated,
it was the smoker. Yeah, man, but it was kids involved, so I that's why I stayed. I stayed 2 years longer, but that was a mistake because I was, like I said, I was miserable. I was miserable for those 2 years. Believe me, man, and the behavior I was exhibiting showed it. I was drinking too much. I was irritable. I was angry. You know, I was miserable. But when it was time to leave,
don't want to come home.
I don't want to come. Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to come home. You know, some nights I didn't want to go in the house unless I was already lit. You know, so I could just go in there and pass out. I've been there, man. Believe me, I've done it, man.
I know.
There's no way to live. That is no way to live. And she didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve it. And them damn kids didn't deserve it. You know, so I would rather leave and go through whatever, like, than to do that again. I wouldn't do that again. Probably did more harm than what the good I
You know,
thought I was
Blizz,
doing.
I've never been in a relationship that didn't last at least 5 years. And I've been in a few relationships, but
Yeah.
that's the thing. I always tried to stick it out. And that's the thing when you look at the statistics on divorce. It's not men running to get a divorce. Mostly it's women. Men try to stick it out. They
Try.
try to make it work. It's the women who feel like I'm not happy, so
Yeah.
they
It's
want a divorce.
absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And we sit there ignoring shit, trying to make it work out, suffering, miserable. That's why we commit suicide
Yep.
more. We like that's why we out here banging our heads up against the wall. That's why. Um, I talked about that in
Yeah.
the video before, man. Men stay in unhappy relationships. You know, we settle more. Men settle more, and we don't hear that said a lot. Men settle more because we'll sit in there, we'll hang in
Right.
there, and go through a whole bunch of bullshit. You know, but when a woman's fed up, most of the time when she reached that point, she gonna leave your ass. You know, as she should. I mean, I'm not saying
Yes.
she should stay. I should say that if it's not working, y'all gotta find some outcome. You know, some outcome. Either fix it or
Well,
leave.
the thing is, it's usually working for them actually, but they reach a point as to where they get so used to what's going on. They get so used to the amount of money that you bring in that they want to think that the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah,
And so
social
then they
crime.
want to walk off. And then they will find out that the grass is not that green. And then they want to come back. I don't think there's only been one woman that I ever dealt with, okay, that once we broke up, she didn't want to come back. Okay,
Oh,
only
wow.
one. All others wanted to come back. And I said, no, it ain't
Yeah,
happening. You left.
they are.
Now I can't trust you.
They all want to
Bye.
come back. They all want to come back. But I've had like I haven't had relationships end
Mhm.
where it's F you and you did that. I've been lucky in that way, I guess, in life. I've had relationships fail, but never where we want to kill each other or we can't talk or nothing like that. So, but they all like they they all would have continued if I wanted it to. But if it's not working, if it's just doing damage, then us men need to learn how to leave. And it sounds so crazy, even rolling off my tongue that way. But it's true. It's true. It's true. Like I
And we
really
know
can't.
we should leave. That's the terrible thing. We know we unhappy and should leave. We'll sit there like a big dummy and just take it and hope that it'll work out.
Yeah. And
Well,
then
usually
and
it's
10 years
because
later,
you put so much of your money into you put so much into that relationship that you feel like, oh, if she leave, I'm losing.
yeah,
But you're not. You're getting your freedom back and you can start life all over again. And I advise guys, if that happens, get your passport and see the world.
catch that flight. Yeah, I agree. But just know, I advise the younger men, especially if you're going to deal with women in America, is to like listen to the older guys, listen to what they're saying, not just the ones complaining, because there are bad stories, there are good stories, but listen and know what you're getting into before you get married, before you have a kid. Like, this may be you. And the way things are going in America, the chances are getting greater and greater that it will be you. So, with that being said, don't come up here 5 years later talking about, oh, women aren't good. My wife took me to the cleaner. Like, just know that this is your future. Me, for one, because I've been through it. Mr. Tate, he been through it, you know, and it's not all bad,
Yep.
but there's a chance, and those chances are getting greater that you will go through divorce and you will pay child support, and you know that's just reality. So
The same
let me
chance.
answer this question.
And
Mr. Tate is in the
if you do
Philippines. Yes.
go through a divorce, get you a sharp. Get your attorney. Make sure your attorney is a sharp. Okay, that he's gonna really fight for you. Okay, because when I went through my divorce, I had a law firm. Okay, they told me, Mr. Tate, don't worry about it. This one is on us. We're gonna handle this for you for free.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah. And stop
She
being
didn't
so
get
damn
nothing.
nice. Like you
She
said,
was
stop
just
being so
happy.
damn nice. When they
Right.
do,
She
we are nice. Oh, just let her have it. Whatever she
yeah.
wants. You know. And then and she ain't thinking like that. Her
When
lawyer
they
ain't
got
talking
through
like
with
that.
her, she just wanted to, she just wanted to be free. When my lawyers got
Wow.
through, okay, because they ran up her bill with her attorneys, with all the depositions and stuff like that they were calling them in for and everything, and she had to pay for that. Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
she
we
just
gotta we
said,
gotta be
"Forget it. I don't want anything. Okay, just let me go. I don't want anything from you." Okay, at first it was a long list like this of things that she, and you can't see my bottom hand, it's almost to the floor, of things that she wanted. But when my attorneys got through, she didn't want anything. Just let me go. And that's why you need a sharp. Make sure you get a very good attorney. Don't be cheap. Don't be worried about, oh, I'm going to owe so much money paying these guys. They're going to end up saving you a bunch of money.
a bunch of stress. He says, sometimes it's not the men, women just be on game. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I had to tell my brother that tonight when I was having a
Yeah,
conversation. I said, man, I don't defend ratchet women. I don't defend ratchet women. He said, I know you don't. I said, but a lot of people think I do pander to women. I said, I don't. I just don't attack them over and over and over and over again because my message is primarily for men, for younger men. But I got one coming for the ratchet women out there because I do think we need to have this clear separation. I got one coming so for the ratchet women because there's a lot of them out here and they're recruiting just like I talk about the men. They're recruiting also. They're recruiting our daughters to do some stupid um, shit. You know, they're on TikTok recruiting our daughters. They're
yeah.
on Facebook recruiting our daughters. You know, they're in the streets recruiting them. Their actions, the things they doing, you know, so we gotta address it. I'm gonna address it soon. But it's not gonna be my lane that I'm gonna go down. I am gonna address it, but you know, ratchet women, a little bit of shame. They need some shame, and it ain't gonna hurt. It ain't gonna hurt to give them. You know, it is what it is. There's plenty of ratchet women out here
And
that
it's a
don't believe they
terrible,
can be corrected.
it's a terrible thing for us. It's a terrible thing for us as a people to not to be able to stick together, to not to be a team together, to not be able to build together, okay? Because they're listening to these crazy women who really don't have a man, or they may have a man and still sitting up talking this crazy stuff to these young women, okay, and they're falling for it,
Yeah.
and then as life gets hard, they're going to regret, okay, not finding a good man, okay, making that good man, putting him on the friends list instead of wanting to marry this guy and build with this guy so that they will have a solid future and have nothing to worry about because they have worked together and have built and have everything going good for themselves. But no, they're listening to these 304s, okay, who are only thinking about trying to beat somebody out of something. They want something for nothing instead of putting in the work to build. And that was one of the things in my life that I have to say that a lot of the women that I dealt with, even though I came to them with good ideas, showing them what I'm doing, how it's being done, and what I needed from them so that we could build something together. Couldn't get them to do it.
Yeah, I had
Couldn't
one
get
like
them to
that.
do it. And
I
seeing
had
like
one like that.
now, man, like I still have my crib in the United States. Okay. I've got cars and motorcycles and all kinds of stuff still in the United States. And then I'm building over here. So yeah, I'm living the good life. I can't complain. I can't complain at all. But I would
Yeah.
like to see that happen to a lot more of us as men because we have to think about what we're doing. Think with this, not with
Not with
that one
that.
down there. That'll get you
Exactly.
in
Yes,
trouble.
sir.
Think with
Yes,
your
sir.
think with this
Make them
hand.
take
Yes,
down there first.
sir. Cisco says I gotta push back on that. Women try to make it work harder than most men, in my experience. I don't know, man. I can only well, that's your experience, so I can't really debate your experience in life. My experience in life is the opposite, and I think most divorces are initiated by men. I mean, by women. Like what is like 86% or something like that. It's a high percentage. That doesn't mean that the woman is just out of
Yeah,
nowhere initiating divorce. It means that the men also probably know, and they're not doing it out of the blue. The men probably knows that this shit isn't working, you know, but he would not initiate that divorce. Men don't do it. They're in the same relationship. They're in the
yeah.
same marriage.
You
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 know.
you know what? A lot of my friends, okay, one of the number one complaints that they wives had, okay, before the divorce is that they don't spend enough time with them. The dude is working time and a half, double time, trying to make that money, okay? And then they think you're going to have time to want to run the streets. Now, when you get home, you tired. All you want to
Right.
do is take a bath, eat some food, go to sleep so you can get back up and go back to that job and do it again and make that money. And they don't appreciate it.
I only had one relationship where a woman told me I didn't spend enough time with her. But I told her ahead of time. Like, and the problem was that we got together during COVID, and it was the season the football season had got canceled, and we got together. So I'm spending all type of time. I ain't got no football. We can't even really have contact with the kids. So they ended the lockdowns. All right, kids went back to school the next year, and I'm telling her like, look, football season coming up. I told you how much time I need to, to invest into this. It's not just me going to practice. It's me doing film. It's me contacting college coaches, going to visits with the kids, and it's like it's a lot behind it. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. until I started doing it, and it was reality, and she couldn't handle it. She just couldn't handle it. But that we do a lot. We do a lot, and I don't think that gets appreciated. You know, our hard work, and we're always saying grind culture, grind, 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 grind. Until you actually do it, then you're punished for it. You know, so
Yeah.
daddy government. Oh man, 50% chance that you're getting divorced. How many men in here want a woman who makes more money
No
than them?
divorce in the
If not,
Philippines.
why?
No.
Cisco says, how many men in here want a woman who makes
I
more
do.
money than them? If not, why? I've had one. I've had one. We didn't have no
Your point
problems
is back.
with that.
You can't get
You
played.
know, we ain't had no problem with that at all. Um,
It's not a
I
problem,
don't
but
care.
I ain't never had a problem with a woman making more money than me. I love it.
No, not at all.
My ego does not get in the way of a woman making more money than me
And I don't believe
because I'm
this is
always
not
willing to
necessarily
help
true.
my woman make money.
Yes, I agree. But this isn't necessarily true what Thomas says. He says, I want mine if she made more money, but her money isn't your money, it's hers. I don't agree. If you dealing with why are you dealing with a woman who thinks that way? Why are you even dealing with a woman that thinks that way? You know what I mean? You settling, bro. You settling.
Yeah,
Men
because y'all
settle.
can't build. You can't
Men
build if
settle.
she thinks that way.
Is your money hers when you make more money, Thomas? What's the difference? Yeah, I don't know why you even deal with a woman that think that way, man. Like that's the problem. You can't come up here and complain about it if
Yeah,
you walking into that knowingly walking into a situation like that.
yeah, because I'm not gonna be sitting up paying all the bills and my woman makes more money than me. No, it don't work like
And
that.
just
She got to
pocketing
come
it
up
or
with
spending it
money
on
on
dumb
them bills.
shit. Like we in this together. I don't need a woman to take care of me.
Yeah,
We take care of each other. Like that's how it's supposed to be. And I don't care if people got these gender roles. A man
yeah,
supposed to do
because
this.
of
No, we do what we need to do to make this shit work. That's what we gonna do. That's in my book.
yeah.
I'm gonna do my
I
part.
I've always gone over women's finances. I will go over their finances to see what they're doing with their money. And excuse me, but that's what comes from working at the Internal Revenue Service. Okay. I'm going to go over a woman's finances. I'm going to see what she's doing with her money and I'm going to show her how to start investing that money that she's making. Okay, how to save some of that money that she's making, and I'm also going to give her my plan on what I'm planning on doing with the woman, the things that I want to do to make things better for both of us. And if she can't go along with that program, toodaloo, bye, because she's not bright. She's not intelligent enough to see that she has a good man that's trying to look out for her interests and make her life even better so that when she gets old, she won't be broke like a lot of these women that you see online here begging for money, always trying to beat somebody out of something because they don't have nothing. They get
Yeah,
on here and they talk this stuff about how bad men are and how much money a man has to make. They're saying how much money a man has to make because they don't have no money. They faking it. They ain't
yeah,
got nothing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be worried about how much you make. If they liked you, they would just like you. It wouldn't
yes, sir.
matter. but they're broke.
And
That's
and
why
that's what
they're
I'm
saying
saying.
that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like I've been with a woman that made more money than me, and we had no problem. You know, we had no problem at all. And I think it's the people that, and that's why I always say it's the extremists that got the loudest voices. Like you're saying, the ones that ain't got shit, the ones that haven't done shit. you know, they the ones
Uh-huh.
with the loudest voices. You know, it's true. And we give them the time of day though, because we click, we listen,
Come
we
on. What
entertain
woman,
them. You know,
yeah, what woman with money does not want to listen to a man is going to show her how to make more money? No woman with money is that stupid.
yeah. Cisco says, talking about marriage and who initiates marriage, he says it's initiated by women for two reasons. They're tired of the BS, and they know most of the time they'll get financial compensation because they make less money. Now, like I said, if that's your, well, it can't be all of your experience because I don't know how many times you've been divorced. you go like you might have heard it or seen it from somebody else, but that's hearsay. That's second or third hand knowledge because people lie, right? Before no fault divorce was initiated, you had a bunch of women lying on men to get out of marriages. Now, what I'm saying is that I don't know what goes on behind the closed doors and in these relationships, but I know people tend to lie to gain advantage, whether that's a man or a woman. All I know is that a relationship failed, but it was the woman who initiated the divorce 80 something percent of the time. You know, if a relationship fails, why isn't the man initiating the divorce? And y'all know me. Y'all know how hard I push back on men when we come up here and cry and complain. We do. But at the same time, like we gotta be real. I'm not gonna put I'm not gonna come up here and say that a majority of the time um all relationships fail or a majority of relationships fail because men ain't shit. Like and women are tired of their men's BS. Like I don't know. I can't say that because there's a lot of bad women in this world. There's a lot of ain't shit women in this world too. And there's ain't shit men. It goes both ways. Women cheat, men cheat. I
Yeah.
think women cheat just as much as men. You know, women lie just as much as men. You know, shit. I think women.
I think they lie a little bit more, and they're better at lying than we are.
I, I don't know that more. I'm gonna just say it just as much. You know, and that's just being real. That's just being straight up real. Because I can't tell you why all these marriages are failing. But I'm not gonna come up here and say it's all men's fault or it's all women's fault. You know, it's a personal relationship. We know it fails because we see that, that a divorce happened. We don't know exactly what happened, because the woman's gonna come out and say, "Oh, he did this and he did that," and then the man's gonna come out and say, "Well, she did it." I don't know. I don't know. We weren't there to see any of that. But I do know that a relationship failed, a marriage failed, right? And 80 something percent of the time is going to be the woman initiating the divorce, right or wrong, justified or
Yeah.
unjustified. She's the one that actually does it, while that man would be comfortable sitting there. Well, not comfortable, but would be content with sitting there miserable, unhappy. It's not like he's just oblivious. Maybe some are, But it's not like all these men are oblivious that their wives are unhappy. We talk about it all the time. Why would a man put up with a sexless marriage? They did a whole live stream on it the other day. Why would a man put up with a sexless marriage? Like, who does that?
Look, here's one thing to think about. Okay, the majority of the time when you get ready as a man to marry somebody, your mother will say, I really don't like her or whatever. And you marry her anyway. So now, okay, you would feel like an idiot if you jumped up and wanted to file for divorce. So you just say, I'll sit here and take this bullshit, okay? Because you just don't want to have to face your family when they were all saying, don't marry her, don't marry her, but you did it anyway. Hey.
I ain't gonna lie, I was talking shit to my family. Why y'all ain't telling me not to marry her? Y'all knew I wasn't ready.
Good advice, friend. Good advice. Thank you. I salute you, sir. Good advice.
No, the woman is the main breadwinner. All right.
Good advice.
Let me try to catch up on some of these chats, man. I appreciate y'all for coming up here.
Oh, no problem.
Mr. Tate, man, I appreciate you, man. Just a lot of knowledge, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, yes.
Thomas Marshall says, in the States, women have all the power when kids are involved. In the Philippines, dudes just leave without any consequences.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah. Joseph says, her money is her money, but my money is our money. The fuck? Nah, not over here. Not over here. We build together or we don't build. We build together or we don't build. Don't meet me at the finish line. You know, that's what I say. Don't meet me at the finish line. Come, you know, you're gonna walk this walk with me. We're gonna walk it together as a family. That's how it should be. You know, y'all want to put up with that, then you get what you get.
Yeah.
You know, you want to put up with them type of women, you get what you get from that. And that's one thing you're not gonna get sympathy from me. If I see you over there knocking yourself upside the head, I'm gonna tell you to stop. But you can't come to me crying, talking about, oh, she was no good. She used me. Bro, she told you from the beginning. Right? Her money is her money. Your money is your money. She told you from the beginning. So you think that when you get that divorce, she ain't coming for you? That's her money. She told you. Stop dealing with these women, man. Stop dealing with these type of women. Don't care how good they look, how big the butt is, how good
Are you
the
caught up?
coochie is. No, not yet. Oh, I'm
going
starting to go now.
You better advice.
You got me going now. I didn't say I would stand for that type of woman. Hell no, I never had a woman that made more though. All right, appreciate you, man. Nah, you believe it, LL. You doubling down. Thomas trying to backtrack his original comment. He says, I would never be with a gold digger. If she made more money, it's supposed to go in the same pot, no matter how much she makes. Yo, salute. I'm trying to come up there and be the bad guy, Blizzard.
Bad guy,
Goes both ways. Drop the link again. All right, I got you. That link I dropped way back in the chat. Why is divorce rate so high?
Let me tell you a little story.
Oh.
Go ahead.
One of the things that made me want to marry Lily was I took her to Wolfgang Steakhouse in Manila, and it's very expensive. Okay, when we walked through the door, they asked, like, was this an anniversary or something? They wanted to know why we came there to have dinner. Okay, so they had steaks like that thick. Okay, and we had wine. Had a good time. When the bill came and Lily saw the bill, you should have seen her face. And she told me to
Mhm.
never
Ah,
do that again. We could have went to the store and got some steaks, and I would have cooked the steaks and whatever else that could have went it, and you could have saved that money. Don't be blowing your money like that on me. And that made me say, this is a good woman. I've never had a woman in the United States to tell me something like that when I took her out and spent a lot of money. To tell me, don't never do that again. Never. Not once.
yeah, that's good. I had that happen to me. I had it happen to me, and it was recently. So that's what's up. So we'll see. Cisco, what up, bro?
What's up, fellas? Oh, shit, hold
The bad guys in the house. You sound kind of low. The bad guys here. Hey, smash that like
Look
button,
at
man.
me.
Smash that
Look at
like
me,
button.
Frank. Look at me, Frank. I'm
Got
the bad guy.
I don't know how many
Everybody
likes we
say hello
got.
to the bad guy. Y'all don't like
How
my
many
Tony
likes we got,
Montana.
man? Nah.
Say good night to the bad guy.
18 likes. That's what's up, man. Appreciate it. So what's going on, man? Let me hear it.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
it.
So look, you're saying, and I'm not going to argue the percentages because I mean you're probably right, or you're probably close to right at least. So that doesn't matter to me. The 87% of the divorces are initiated by women. Okay, well, I mean, you got to ask yourself, well, why are 87% of the divorces initiated by women? So my feeling is that those two reasons that I stated earlier. Number one, you know, just like anybody else who files for divorce, they're sick of the bullshit. All right. So that's the first reason anybody files for divorce. They're sick of the bullshit. Right. So that, I mean, I think that one's pretty much irrefutable. I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean, you don't file for divorce when you're happy, right? You file for divorce when you don't like what's going on. So then the second part is they know that because they don't make as much money as you do, they don't have as many assets financially that you do, that they'll get a big chunk, if not half of that amount. So I mean, there's no really other reasons why they would do it, because if number one, if they weren't upset or tired of the bullshit, they wouldn't file for divorce. But the second thing is, if in California or any other state in the United States, if the law was that, well, if you file for divorce, you get nothing, how many women do you think would file for divorce then? Damn near zero, because what recourse will they have
They
to
will.
support themselves, right? Well, that's my point. That's my whole point. So, the system, people say, the system is set up for women, blah blah blah. It's not set up for women. It's set up for people who are financially in a worse situation in the partnership. So if you're a man and you make less money than the woman, guess what's going to happen? They don't give a shit if you're a man or a woman. They plug numbers into a computer of your income versus their income, and and it spits out a number. And whoever is the person who's on the lower side of that income uh, equation, they're getting money. That's just the way the law works.
Yeah, but
Now,
how
it just so happens
many men are gonna actually take that money?
every single one of them. But here's the thing:
I don't think
the
so.
reason why the vast majority of the time women are making less money than men is because that's the way our society is set up. We have a society that originally was set up to where women stayed at home, men went out to work. Well, back then, it was very different. Women couldn't divorce men and get half their shit. Back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, didn't work like that. It wasn't until, there were some rights that were actually made into law that gave women, the right to, actually walk away with something, that women started filing for divorce. So, I mean, you can't blame somebody for wanting money when they take care of the kids, they cook the dinners, they wash the clothes, they're doing everything at home. If that's their job, they're doing it. Shouldn't they get something for that? I mean, just because you go to work every day and make money, okay, well,
Yeah,
she's
but
working every day too. She's just not making money. So of course a woman should get something. And that's not stacked for the woman. That's actually it's the opposite of that. It's stacked for men to make more money to go out and have better incomes. That's the way our society is set up. So I mean you can't look at it as well, the laws are for the women. If that was the case, women would be making as much money as men are, and they don't. So I mean, are they more stupid than men? Are they not able to work as hard as men? I mean, come on. I mean that it's easy to say that. To
no,
me, it's like a
I,
cop
I,
out to say that it's
I
stacked for
think
women.
I think I I
I've got
I
a
think
question.
women I think women that work the same position as men should make the same amount, the same position, salary, you know, pay
Yeah,
rate
agreed.
wise. Yeah,
Agreed.
they should. They absolutely should. But we're not in this. A lot of times we're not in the same fields. We don't do the same jobs. We have different roles, you know. But that's not even what I was arguing tonight. All I'm saying is that do men settle more? Are they more unwilling to leave relationships? And I don't think, how many times have we heard a man, like, it's basically makes the news if a man um gets paid palimony or whatever you want to call it. It's called, I don't know if it's alimony or not.
Yeah,
A
alimony.
lot of times men don't ask for shit. We don't want anything from that
Because
woman.
they're the ones making more money. They're the ones
I could
making
have
more money the majority of the
not
time.
yeah, majority of the time,
The
but
vast majority of the
if
time,
offered
they're
No,
it,
making
if
more money.
I
offered it,
disagree.
if offered it, we don't take it. I know I've done it. I had custody of my son. I could have brought that lady. I could have brought my ex to child support and got child support. Whether no matter, I know men have done it. They get like $6 a fucking week. You know what I mean, or whatever. However, I know people that get more than that. But I wasn't gonna do it. I don't want nothing. I got this. I'm the man. I'm gonna take care of my son, my responsibilities. You know, I don't need nothing from you. I got him.
Yeah, there's
That's
women
how a
That's
that
lot
what
of
I
us
there's
think.
there's women that do that too, though. There's women that do that too.
Yeah,
Most of the people that I talk to that have been through divorce, and this is what pisses me off. Most of the guys that I talk to who've been through divorce, most of them
they don't
say
lose
the
nothing.
woman didn't want nothing. They just wanted a divorce. That's most of them say that. So for me, it's like, well,
I've
goddamn, I
seen
wish I
that
had
happen.
that one. I
I've seen
wish I
that.
had that one because I
My,
didn't have that one.
yeah,
I
I
had the
had an
one that wanted as
amicable
much as
divorce.
she could get.
I had an amicable divorce. I didn't like. She didn't want shit from me. I didn't want that from her.
I mean, but do you guys really think that men care more about the
all
children and keeping the family together than the women do? You really believe
No,
that?
no.
No,
I
of
think
course not.
men are just more unwilling
yes,
to leave
yes.
the relationship. I don't know if they care about. I don't know because that's subjective. That's subjective. I can't say what how another man feels about his kids. I can't say that. I don't know enough men. I haven't talked to enough men to
All I
to
wanted,
figure that out. Go ahead, Mr. Tate.
all I wanted was my son. That's all I wanted was my son. I didn't want any child support or anything from her. Just give me my son. And that's what I got. And I didn't want anything from her. I could take care of my son myself. And that's what I did.
But Mr. Tate, and by the way, Mr. Tate, what's going on, brother? It's good to see you. Ryan, good to see you, brother. Liz, good to see you
Going
too.
back.
So
How's
See
it
you,
going?
bro.
I should have said that at the beginning. My bad. But Mr.
That's
But Mr. Tate, let me ask you this: did you have money? Did you have a job? Did you have an income at that point?
Yes.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
he
yeah.
answered. He said,
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Did
Yeah.
you hear
We
what I
did.
said? Oh, you did have an income. Okay, so let me ask you this: if you had no job, you had no money in the
Yeah.
bank, and your ex-wife did, would you have taken money then?
No,
Why not?
because this is the thing about myself. I'm gonna make money. I've always made money. All
Well,
right.
but wait, well,
I've
wait,
been
wait.
working ever
I'm
since
saying
I
right
was
now,
11 years old.
right? But I'm saying at the time that you were going through the divorce, and let's say you're in court in the divorce trial, the divorce hearing, and you have zero money in the bank, you have zero access to any money, you have nothing, and you're trying to get custody of your son, but your wife has the money. You're telling me you would not take any money. You just walk out of there with no money, no way of getting money, nothing. Don't
Let,
expect her
let
to
me
help you
explain.
support
Let
your
me
son,
explain
nothing.
this to you. If I had no money, if I had no money, then I would not be trying to take my son because it's about the welfare of the child. That's what it's about. And if she can take better care of my child, then take it. Go ahead.
Okay, but let's set your child
Simple
aside
as
then.
that. Because it's about the
Okay, and
welfare of the child.
I agree with you. And it's not just about financial, it's also about, being a better parent too. I mean, let's be real. Some people are not a good parent even though they make more money. But let's just assume she was a good parent, she had the money, but you had $0, no way of having any money at the time. It would, to me, it would be silly to walk out of court with nothing in your hands. You just walk out, no money, no way of getting money. How are you going to feed yourself? Where are you going to live? What are
But
you going to
that's
do with
not.
yourself until
I
you can
don't think
find a
that's.
job?
But,
I don't think that's a
but see,
realistic
you're
picture, though,
you're
Cisco.
It's
asking me
realistic.
something that
It's
is
To
realistic to women that
some,
don't
impossible.
work.
That is
to some,
impossible
but
for
how
me.
many women are in marriages? How
Being that
many
I am,
relationships in America where the woman just stays at home and doesn't work
A lot,
nowadays?
a lot.
Now, really? Think so?
Yeah, not as much as it used to, for sure. Not as much as it used to, for sure, but still a lot. And it's not just. And I'm
I
not even.
thought it
I'm
was
just
like
using that.
20 something percent.
That's a lot. That's one out of every four women. So if that's the case, yeah, that's quite a bit. But here's the thing: it's not even about if you had no money. I'm talking about if you didn't have enough money to support yourself on your own. Okay, it would. Don't you agree? It would be kind of silly to walk out of there with zero.
No, I mean nobody. I've never been against
the
paying
thing is,
alimony and child support. I've never been against that. You know, if
No,
you
I'm
if you
not
got
saying you're paying it.
responsibilities, pay it.
I'm saying you as a person, you put in 30 years in a marriage, and this woman was making six-figure salary. You were making, let's say you had a part-time job, but you were taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, doing all that stuff. And then she decides that, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to be with you anymore. Now you're gonna go to court and say, okay, that's cool. Let's just both go our own way. And you can't even afford to live in a house. You don't have any way to support yourself beyond your part-time job. You're just gonna walk away. You're not gonna take money that you have coming to you legally. You're not gonna do that.
Probably not.
Why not?
first thing, you don't have the money coming to you. That money belongs to the kid, not you. And see, and that's the problem that we have with women right now. They get that money and they feel that it's their money. No, it's the child's money.
No, no, we're not.
And even if
We're not
you
talking about
have
child
money,
support.
then
No, we're not talking about child
if
support.
you give child support, you're supposed to take that money and put it to the side, okay, for
No, no,
that
I'm not talking
child.
about child support. I'm talking about
Now you're
alimony.
talking about alimony.
Yeah, yeah, alimony. You're not going to take
I
alimony?
don't want her money. I don't want her money.
Okay. And why is that?
No,
I wouldn't take the money either. I just wouldn't take the money
Why
because
not?
I'm a man.
because I just wouldn't.
Okay, because
I
you're a
wouldn't
man,
want it.
and
I wouldn't want
the
it.
expectation is that a man is the one who's supposed to be the one who's the breadwinner, yada yada yada, right? But we don't live in a society where women are expected to be the breadwinner and not take any money. We live in a society where women are supposed to be dependent on the man. That's the
If
society we live in. And if the women are going to be dependent on the man,
okay,
then whether you're married
let
to
me
her or
explain
not, you
We
have to
something.
don't
support
live
her
in that
in marriage and
society
divorce.
anymore, Cisco. We don't live in that society anymore. Nobody is raising their daughters today to be housewives and stay at home and don't work. Nobody's raised. Now, I'm not saying nobody, but that's a minority. We are raising our daughters to go to school, to go to college, to compete with men for jobs and get out there in the work field. It'd be different if we were raising our daughters in 2025 to grow up and be housewives. We're not doing that anymore. We're not.
Yeah, some people are not doing that anymore.
It's
Okay,
just
but the thing of it is, I said we live in a society where the expectation is women are they are the ones who are looked at as having to be more likely dependent on a man. Period. You know, women are the ones who are looked at as, okay, you have to go find a man who makes money so he can support you, support your kids. I hear people complaining about that all the time. Oh, they only want me for my money. Well, that's why, because we live in a society where women, we all know they make less money, and they also have, this society that says, hey, men are supposed to be the breadwinners. Women are either supposed to stay at home, or they're supposed to be more, you know, in the background to the man, let him lead. That's the society we live in. Now it's changing. You're right, Blizzard, it's changing, but people are complaining about that it's changing. So it's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say, well, hey, women need to be, you know, subservient or let me lead. But at the same time, when they let you lead and they're now left with making less money and less of a way to support themselves if they divorce, that they get nothing. They walk away, they get nothing, especially since they're part of the reason why you have what you have. They allowed you to go to work, and they took care of the kids. They were the ones that sacrificed to stay home, take care of the kids while you were working.
I'm saying, but we don't
That's
live in that
part.
Well,
That's
hold
part
society.
of it.
hold
We
on,
don't live in that society no
Cisco,
more. We live in a
Cisco,
society of two
Cisco.
income households is the majority of households in America. That woman is not walking away without a job, without some income. Maybe it's not enough to to support the same lifestyle she had with the husband, because that's what alimony used to be about, is maintaining the lifestyle that
Right.
she had in the marriage, not about if she could survive, you know, if she could thrive. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
you're right. It's not about that. It's not about that. But it's also about being what the law shows as, there's an algorithm basically that the computer runs, and it looks, they punch the numbers in and it spits out the number. I don't know how they calculate that number, but basically
it's
it's it
wrong.
what it's
It should
saying,
be changed. It
well,
should be
it's,
changed.
I mean, we could argue that, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not about her, living the lifestyle she's accustomed to. That you're right. It's not about that. It's about having a certain standard of living, right? And so that's what she's owed, a certain standard of living, because that's what happens when two people who have unequal incomes, when they split up, the person who has the lesser income, they have to get, something to help support themselves.
But the
But here's the
average
thing.
incomes today ain't that far apart.
Well, the
No,
statistics
you
will
got to
say
get up
differently.
off of your
The
behind and
statistics
do
will
what
say
you got
differently.
to do.
Wait, say it again, Frank.
The average
You
incomes
have
aren't
to
that
get up
far
off of
apart,
your
Cisco.
behind and do what you got to do. That's what men do.
Well, then she can make the same argument and say, well,
I
then
don't
you need
need
to
a
get up
woman
off
to
your
take care
behind
of me.
and make more money to help me live my lifestyle. She can make the same argument.
And hold on. See, did you hear what I said though? I don't think you heard what I said, because what I said was about a man. Okay, because the question to me was, would I take money from her if she made more than me? Okay, and when you use the term breadwinner, okay, she may make more money. Okay, but that does not mean that you're not making any money. Okay, for you to go into court and to be able to win your child, okay, you have to show the court that you can take care of that child as a man. Okay, the courts are way easier on women than they are on men, and that's the story that I want to let guys know, because I'm a man who won in court and I got custody of my child, and
Me
I
too.
did not want child support or anything from that woman. I just wanted that woman out of my life. And I wanted my son with me so I would not have to deal with her, so that she could not use my child over me. where I've got to beg her, can I see my child? Because that's the way women do us. Okay, they use the child as leverage, and that I did not want to deal with. And my attorneys understood that, and they fought for me, and I won. And I didn't want anything from her. Just give me my son and let me go, and you go on with your life. I'm not going to ask you for anything. You were unhappy. I want you to be happy. I want you to be able to find somebody else. And if you have a kid, you may not be able to find anybody else. So give me my son and you go on and do your thing. Because I really don't want another man over my child.
And
Simple as that.
I'll say two things. The first thing is, you said the courts are easier on the women than they are on the men. So did you have to pay
Yes, they
alimony?
are.
Did you have to pay alimony?
No, I didn't.
So you didn't have to
No,
pay
I didn't.
alimony, and so you didn't have to pay alimony, and you got your kid. What did she get?
No. When when my attorneys got through with her, she didn't want anything from me. They ran up her costs so high that she really couldn't afford her attorneys.
Why couldn't she afford her attorneys?
I had some sharks.
Did
I
she
had
have
some
money?
sharks.
Did she
I
have
did not
money?
have bullshit attorneys. I came in there with LaSalle Street. I lived in Chicago. I went into court with LaSalle Street attorneys.
But I mean, well, two things. I mean,
And
it
if,
sounds
if
like
you
she couldn't
don't
afford
know,
a good attorney.
that's where all of the high price attorneys are.
Well, yeah, but it sounds like
Well,
she couldn't
she didn't
afford a
want to
good
spend
attorney.
that kind of money. I was willing to spend. No, she didn't want to spend that money. You see, there's a difference between a man who's his own man that is going to win. It's just like in The Godfather when Michael closed the door on his wife, okay? Because he wanted nothing to do with her anymore. She
That's
betrayed
probably a
him,
bad example,
and
though,
he
bro. That's
wanted
a bad
his
example.
kids and wanted
That's a
her
bad
gone.
example.
And he said, "No, just listen to me. Just listen to me for a second, okay?" And he
Go ahead, bro.
said, "Kate, did you understand that I would use all of my powers against you?" That's the way I was. I didn't care what the cost was. Didn't matter. I
Yeah,
want my son, and I'm going to fight for my son.
yeah, and my point wasn't, it didn't have anything to do with the kids, because that's a whole other subject. We're just talking about, my issue was that,
But that's
I
part of the divorce. That's part of the divorce.
it is part
Salute
of the divorce,
DC.
but
Salute DC 53. What up, brother? Good to see you in here, man. Salute. Sorry, guys.
no,
Go ahead.
what's up, fellas? It is a part of the divorce, but what we were specifically talking about was, basically the attitude that the courts are geared to help women, like it's some kind of unfair thing that they just decided to side with women for some reason. And what I'm trying to explain is that there's a reason why it appears that the laws favor women, because in our society, women are in an unfavorable position the majority of the time. When
No.
when when
I mean, I
when
get
women
that.
when
I
women are
get
married
what you're
in
saying.
How
this
old are you?
country, wait, hold on.
Cisco,
When
how old are you?
I'm 52,
You old as hell.
I'm 52 years old, and I
You
was
old
married
as
for
hell.
21 years,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, you
Old
you
as hell.
still young to me.
Okay, well, I mean, I was married
You
for
you
21
still
years.
young.
Okay,
Things
well,
But see
change.
now, see
but
Cisco,
but
I
The
got I
the
gotta
but hold on,
push
hold on.
back. I gotta
the
push
the
back,
way
Cisco.
that
I gotta
the
push back. Hold on. Let me push back on Cisco because that wasn't the argument you came up here to have. That wasn't what we were even talking about. We were talking about men settling in relationships and not leaving, and women initiating the majority of divorces. We weren't talking about like um alimony or child support. I don't think anybody up here has a problem with alimony, child support. Like it may have been in the chat and I missed it. I don't know, but it wasn't on the panel.
Yeah,
You
no,
weren't.
because it was mentioned that because the courts favor women, and what I was trying to say is you can't
They
have it
do.
both ways. Well, they don't favor women just because, like, for no reason. There's a reason why the law tends to look like it's favoring women. It's because generally, like I was saying, in a divorce, one party usually
It's
makes more than the other. One
not
party usually makes more than the other, and
not the case anymore. So I
what
know what you're saying,
wait,
but
I haven't
hmm,
even finished what I'm saying. You don't know what I'm saying until I finish. I haven't even finished what I'm saying. There's one party in a marriage that generally makes more money than the other. Okay,
Generally, yeah.
and that's how the courts decide who's getting alimony, who doesn't. It's dollars and cents. It has nothing to do with the gender. If a woman makes more money than the man, guess who's going to pay alimony? It's most of the time it's going to be the woman, unless there's some kind of outside of the court negotiation that the lawyers do. If you just go in front of a judge and say, "Judge, you decide what happens," whoever makes more money is going to pay alimony, right? That's the way it works. It has nothing to do with gender, but it's usually the women that end up getting alimony because women, the vast majority of the time, make less money than men. So it's not tilted in women's favor because, well, the court just likes women better. It's because there's dollars and cents that are factored into this. And so when you say men are willing to settle and stay in the marriage, well, it's to their advantage to do that because they know if they do go to court, they're probably going to have to pay money. Who wants to do that?
so guess whose advantage it is to leave said marriage. If the advantage for a man to stay in a marriage is there, that's
DC's in the
implied.
building.
That's implied. So what therefore is the advantage for a woman to leave the marriage based off irreconcilable differences? Which seems to be the go-to checkbox that they click when it comes to divorce or even child support. So again, if the if the incentive to stay in a marriage for men is I don't want to get raped in court, let's just be real, then the incentive, it seems, by and large, obviously not all, but a lot, is my incentive to leave a marriage is to do the raping in court because I know I have the court on my side to use it. So in Frank's case, he was a rare gentleman who made six figures, who had the means to fight back. Most men, even if they are the breadwinners in the home, they're not making nowhere near 35K a year, the equivalent of 150K a year at his time when he was making that. They're making closer to 40,000, $50,000 a day. So they can't afford to hire these high powered lawyers. So then you have the overwhelming of judges in courts against the man who simply can't afford
Icy's in
to
the building.
hire the sharks. They can't hire the sharks to fight back, so they inevitably end up giving up their kids to the child, to the mother, who, because she knows she has the court on her side, she has way more resources than the man. So Frank's case is the exception to the rule. Most men are not making that kind of money too, so they can even afford.
I don't know
Puts
about
us in
that.
the building. Puts us in the building. Let me just say something. All right. So we got 6 people on the chat. We gotta kind of like keep the we gotta kind of keep it shorter, just a little shorter, fellas. We gotta keep like you gotta make it mean something, man.
All right.
So the numbers don't go down. I
I'll
ain't trying
change the
to
vibe,
I ain't
right?
trying to fuck with nobody, but
Yeah,
just
that
you know what I
bounce.
mean. All right,
But
DC, what up, brother? It's good to see
what's
you, man.
what's going on, Blizz?
What's up, DC?
It's been a great time. I do have to jump to that though. I mean, nowadays women get
I'll
crazy
talk
opportunities now, and I'll be really quick. Women get crazy opportunities now. So I mean, I feel like I'm talking to people who are alive in like the early 2000s. So no, women get crazy opportunities now, and one thing I noticed too is I was talking to a woman tonight. It's like I just wish I could be home with my kids, but I have the better opportunity. I have the better job. My husband, he works he works a job, but he works a job just to do the job. And but they need to support their family. I mean, you look at the economy nowadays and you need a two-family, living. And even if the woman, right? This woman she's a CFO, man. And like the husband, he still works. And sure, it's pride and everything. and you're talking about like divorce and everything. I don't really know, or in like kids and child support. I'm a young man. I don't really know too much about that stuff. And God bless. Hopefully, I don't have to deal with that, and people around me don't. But like I was talking to this woman, and she's like in her 40s, and she's like, I wish I could be a stay-at-home mom, and my husband, he probably could, but there is like a sort of pride in that, so it's tough.
Probably could, or she doesn't want to give up the lifestyle that she had. So it's not that he probably could do it; it's just that she doesn't want to
CFO, man.
downgrade from the lifestyle that she's accustomed to.
Yeah, but the husband, you don't get the opportunities like that. Like it's like, I mean, I see it in business all the time. I mean, women usually it's the man. It's a desire. It's like, it's a pretty woman, I'm gonna hire her, right? And then and if she's just, she doesn't have bad intentions, but she's a pretty woman and she's outgoing. The man's gonna keep promoting her just to even just try it. If she doesn't give up to him. It's the same as the red pill, right? If a woman's a flirt, right, and we don't even think about this. So if the woman's a flirt and she's just rising her way up the chain, and I don't really know too much about the red pill movement or anything. I just know about psychology. And if the woman's just a flirt and she's not giving it up, she's gonna rise up the chain, right? It's the same thing. So and that's what happens more nowadays. So you get a girl who's very pretty and she's good at her job, and the CEO or whoever is going to keep riding her up the chain, and it's the way it is. So, but we have to understand that, and there's a psychological element to that where she'd rather be at home, and you got to understand that. But I don't know. We're in such a different world nowadays where it's like you can't be like, oh, these women, these men, because we're all people at the end of the day. And there are genetic things where it's like, yeah, the woman does want to be home because, for the last, 70,000, however long people have been around for, 100,000 years, the woman has been the provider for the kid. So it is like one of those things. But all right, let's move on to a different topic.
Yeah,
right?
but then what happens is that, and I had touched on this in the earlier stream. I said that we're putting the pressure on our women. We're putting the pressure on them. We're forcing them out into the work. We're forcing them to work. We're forcing them to go to school. We're going against that genetic, like you said, against genetics. We're not nurturing our daughters to be stay-at-home moms. We're not doing that anymore. We can't act like we live in a society. On one hand, we're complaining that we need two-income households, and then on the other hand, say that we're raising them to be stay-at-home moms and traditional women. Like that those days are gone. I don't see them coming back. I don't see them coming back in the West.
I just want to say it's not genetics. It's not genetics that genetics is not the reason. Hold on, you don't know what I'm saying. It's not genetics. Genetics is not the reason why women stay at home and run the household. That's not genetics. That's a societal expectation. That's something that society puts on people. There's nothing genetic. Women are not genetically predisposed to
Society's
not
telling
have.
them the opposite right now.
Wait,
Society's telling them you're a strong woman and
Bro, hold
you're
on.
to dominate this man. I mean, you see it nowadays, right? No, am I wrong? I mean, society's
yeah.
telling you you got to
Yeah,
dominate the
hold
world.
on.
You're a strong woman.
No. I'm pushing back on that one real quick. My brother went for the divorce, and he took care of the whole damn house. Believe me, he took care of two kids. His wife did absolutely stuff all. He looked after the house, he did the shopping, he did everything for her. And she treated like shit. And I'm glad that I didn't have this put up ever again in my life. So you can't say that. Because trust me, my brother went through hell. Look after two damn kids. Believe me. And he had to keep paying her money, a lot of money. And believe me, he's now in a better relationship now. He's happy, but he doesn't have to pay any more money. So, no, not genetics. No.
You had to suffer for that happiness he got now. You had to suffer for it.
Oh, he did.
Well, and look. I mean, I'm sorry for what happened to your brother, and trust me, I Man, I can't even get a word without somebody interrupting. I listen to everybody and I don't say a damn word, but that's okay. That's good. That just tells me I'm probably right. So check this out. I do. I feel bad for your brother, and that's a terrible situation for anybody to be in. But it's also an anecdotal one that's one person's story. I could
Right.
pull out a story about how a guy was a piece of shit and did the woman wrong. We all know these stories.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What I'm saying is that on the whole, okay, women have less money than men in a marriage, right? They earn less money in the marriage than men do. Okay, they have less opportunity to go out and make the same income that men do, and that's just a fact. That there's statistics that back that up. Okay, there's things have gotten better for women over time. Look, let's do this. If we changed it to women, okay, if we changed it from women to saying black people, well, black people don't have anything to complain about. There's so many opportunities for them. Everything's good for them. They shouldn't be complaining about anything. A lot of black people would have a problem with that statement. All I'm saying is that you can't say, hey, women have a lot of opportunities, so therefore they shouldn't complain. Yeah, there's more opportunities for women nowadays than there were 50 years ago. But the facts remain that women make less money than men do doing the same jobs.
I
So
don't.
on the whole, there's a reason why the courts seem to favor women because women are making less money. They have less opportunity financially than
No,
men do.
no. I'm
That's
gonna
just
say
a
this right
fact.
here. I'm gonna say this right here. You could say all your Fox science. Women have so much more opportunities than men, and it's over any race, and it's because of what I said before, right? We go by a societal standard, at least in America, right, where it's you have to be a strong woman. So these women, I'm going to say this right now, it's a confidence problem for men, and I'm a 20-year-old man, and I see it with my friends, and I see it with other people. Men don't have the confidence to walk into a room and own the room. Women do, and that's a
What?
fact. Yeah, that's real. That's real life. In Cisco,
Okay.
you're
I'm not
at
proud.
least it's Gen Z, and I think that's kind of what it comes down to
Yeah.
too. They own it. They own it, and they're taught to be a boss. And men, we're taught to be
Yeah.
neutered. And look, I'm somebody
Yeah.
who
Wow.
Let me
I'm
say
somebody
something. Let me
who I
say,
who, oh yeah, I'm sorry, Bliss.
yeah, my bad, fellas. But I'm gonna let Mr. Tate say something because he been sitting there for a while. But
Please.
go ahead, Mr. Tate, please.
Look, I was born back in 1954. All right. And I understand why the system is the way that it is. You see, I can remember when women had to get permission from their husband, call the and ask the husband, can that wife work? Okay. So the system was made being that women couldn't work unless they had permission from their husbands to be able to work. So the system was made up as to where to help these women because they could not work without permission. So therefore, if it came to a divorce, the man had to pay the woman because the woman had no other choice but to sit at home and do what her husband told her to do. Okay? Now, things have changed. They are totally different, but the laws have not changed that much. Okay? They have not changed that much. Even though they just started making women pay alimony and child support. Because women are making way more money. And I want to tell you this, me as a revenue officer working for the Internal Revenue Service, the U.S. Treasury Department, almost all of the women, okay, that worked with me made more money than I did. Okay, when I would go into
Facts.
businesses and look
Wow.
at these businesses, it's more women in those businesses running things, not men, not men. And it used to surprise me to go into some business and see all of these women working and women in control of things. It's not like it used to be. It used to be you went into a business, there were men running everything. It's not like that anymore. Think about this. When I was a kid, if you saw a woman in a car, it was a beater, or she was in her husband's car. Now, go down the expressway and look. You'll see men driving the beaters and the women driving the Benzes, the BMWs. Okay? Not all men. Okay? So things have changed and on. But still, we as men, we have to keep our pride. Okay? If a woman wants to leave you, let her go. Okay? Let her go her way because you are dodging a bullet. Okay? Don't take that money from
That's
her. If you get your children, just let her go.
and
Let her go.
that's
And you
that's where
start
this
a
all
new life
started.
and you will be
Well,
better.
let me
That's
respond to
where
that
this
then.
conversation started. That's where this conversation started at.
Yeah,
Men
and so
don't leave relationships. Men
They do.
wait.
suffer.
You're right.
Men settle. That's where it
You're
started
right.
out.
You're
Real
right. You're
quick.
right.
Real quick. Let me do this real quick, Cisco. Then I'm gonna let you respond. All right. So annualized for the latest weekly data, second quarter 2025. Right. So we know that a majority of people in America marry within their race. Nobody could disagree with that, right? So I'm gonna compare the men's annual salary and women's annual salary. All right. White, non-Hispanic, men 70,000, women 57,000. So that's 13,000 a year more, right? That's kind of a lot, right? Black, 50 men 54,000, women 48,000. So that's 6,000 more, right? Asian 91,000. Damn, men 91,000, women 70,000, right? So that's a kind of a gap. Hispanic or Latino, men 52,000, women 45,000. That's annual salaries. You know what I'm saying? So this not like like the women's making 10,000 and the men's making 100,000. These are average salaries for Americans. They're not even the average salaries ain't even that damn high. You know, so ain't nobody out here balling like we all say.
Mhm.
But the difference is in the salaries is not that much.
okay, I want to say
It's
two
I don't
not.
know
things
if I can
about that.
believe that, though. I
I want
mean,
to say two things about that though.
please.
Number one, Asian women obviously need to file for divorce more often because they will come up. That's number one. Number two is those are among people who have jobs. Okay. That does that also factor in people who do not have jobs, which the vast majority of people who would not have jobs would be women. So I mean the data. I mean I don't know what that data is, but in any case, I want to go back to what Frank was saying. And to me, I have no doubt that what you're
That's from
seeing
the
is the.
Bureau of Labor and Statistics.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is,
Oh,
I don't know what they're using for that data. Like I said, are they counting only people that had jobs? Are they counting all
yeah.
people? Are they adding in millionaires and billionaires? I mean, there's a lot of factors that
It's
could
not
make a
weighted
difference.
either.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
not
weighted.
weighted. There's a lot of things that could factor and change those numbers, but I don't want to get into that. That's a whole other subject.
Right.
But
It's
what
all
Frank was
fake. It's
saying,
all fake.
no, it's not. It's not all fake. It's
It is
just
all fake. No, all numbers are
wait,
fake.
wait,
What is
It's
it?
all
60%,
bullshit.
hold on.
60% of all statistics are bullshit. So
I'm dropping off.
They're
Okay.
not.
true.
Well, hold on. So what I was gonna say about was Frank was there's no doubt in my mind that your perception of all that stuff that you just said is what you feel you're saying. I can't argue with you about what you feel you're saying, but again,
You?
you know, that it's an anecdotal thing. Like
Everything
your
that you
person,
told me,
bro. Hold on,
everything is an anecdote.
bro.
Hold on, let
This
him
is
finish.
a
Let him
7-year
finish.
old man who just told
Let him
you what he
finish.
experienced firsthand, and
Let
you
him
just
finish,
can't
Joe.
Let
say,
Cisco finish.
well, he's been trying to finish the whole time. So
You
go
can
ahead.
go next, but we gotta
All right.
kind of like be quicker when we answer because it's a lot of us up here.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I'll drop
Cisco.
off that bit.
Finish, and then Joseph, you can respond.
I mean, it's crazy to tell somebody they're taking a long time to answer, Joseph, when you keep interrupting them. I
No,
mean,
not
obviously
just
that's.
come on.
I mean, what I'm saying is it's anecdotal because it's your own personal experience, right? And it's not that it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is it's that's just your personal experience. When you add up when you look at the statistics, though, okay, going back to what Blizzard was saying about, these are the numbers right here. Those numbers of what is actually going on. How many women have been president of the United States? Zero. What are the majority of Congress? Men. What are the majority of millionaires? What are the majority of billionaires? What are the majority of CEOs? When you add it all up, it's men, 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 men across the board.
Sounds like a point
So
from the 1980s.
okay, so anyway, as I was saying, what you're
Out of touch,
seeing,
out of touch.
what you're and like I said, I mean, y'all gonna believe what you want to believe. I mean, there's nothing I can tell you that's gonna make you change your mind. I mean, go ahead and go on about your business, I guess.
I got one thing. I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't think of names.
No. We gotta let Joseph go. We gotta
But,
let
yeah, Joseph. I'm sorry. You go first.
Joseph is always like quiet. He really don't be interrupting nobody like that. So go ahead,
Well,
Joseph.
except for the last
But you gotta make the point, and then we'll let DC go.
your
Joseph,
mouth.
don't be interrupting people. Okay.
Well, that's last
Sorry.
time. It's just, I don't know. It's something about there's something to wisdom and experience and lifespan on earth that I still hold some reverence to. Where it's like, even if I think I'm right about something, it's like he's seen a lot more. You can say it's anecdotal. That's true. But there's a lot of things that I've learned that was anecdotal in a person who was older than me, especially by a number of years, where it turned out to be true. So I can't just brush off everything as anecdotal, because everything in a person's life that they're talking about, generally speaking, is going to be anecdotal to some extent. To some extent. Secondly, I thought it was interesting that you mentioned statistics, how they're not, you question the statistics that Frank mentioned, that Blizzard mentioned, is it weighted, there's an account for unemployment, all this other stuff. But when it comes to the statistics that you cite, when you're talking about women not having as, not being as employed as the men, then that would lead me to believe that you yourself are using anecdotal evidence because you would have to then question your own statistics that you got and question it to the degree that you question statistics that don't favor the statistics that you like to quote in regards to the advantages that women have. So that's all I wanted to say about that. If you're gonna quote anecdotes and say anecdote this, anecdote that, statistics, are they weighted, are they not, and question everything else, and you also have to be willing to question your own beliefs and your own thought process at the same time. That's all.
So can I respond to that?
Please.
Okay, so anecdotal means it's basically based on one person's personal experience. What we're talking about is not it's not one person's experience. We're talking over the whole United States. So every person's personal experience is going to be different. You don't discount people's personal experiences, but you have to add them up as on a whole. You can't just go, well, this is what I
Yeah.
saw, so that's the way that it is. That's what I mean by anecdotal. Frank had a certain experience. I had a certain experience. DC has a certain experience. None of our individual experiences reflect the whole. It's just one small piece. That's why I say it's anecdotal. So what we're talking about
Hold
is a
on. Whoa,
nationwide.
whoa,
No,
whoa,
no,
whoa,
no,
whoa.
no, no.
No,
But
I
you
got
take
to
the
stop
sum of
you.
that and you get an average. You know what I mean? Like you could take the sum of our experiences, right? That's kind of how you get averages and percentages. You
So what
take the
about the
Cisco,
fact?
sum of the
give me a few seconds.
experiences.
Just
You know what
give
I'm
me a few
saying?
seconds. Cisco,
So
What
I
about the
mean, I
this
can't
is
even
not
respond to what Joseph just
anecdotal
said. I
what
didn't
I'm
interrupt
talking
nothing he
about.
said.
You have to understand,
I can't respond to what Joseph was saying.
I want to hear what the OG is saying.
Cisco, I want you to understand this. I I have been a federal agent, okay? I had to understand law. So the things that I'm telling you is about how law was. When I'm telling you about how women had to uh, get permission to work, a employer would call the husband and ask, okay, could she get a job? If you think that I'm telling something that's anecdotal, then you need to go back and understand history. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you, the history of why men had to pay women. Because women could not work unless their husbands gave them permission to work. Check it out. Look it
Okay,
up.
so can I respond to him
Google it.
now? I didn't get to respond to Joseph, but can I
It's
respond to
not
Atlas?
my experience. Google it.
Okay, can I explain to you why what you just said right now is completely wrong? Because I was not talking about what you were saying about women
No,
having
you
asked
can't.
permit.
No, you can't. Because I'm telling you about times before you were born, before things that you don't even know about. And you're trying to tell me that it's anecdotal when I'm telling you what exactly was going on during that time period and why they made those laws.
So
You don't
can
know
I
anything about it, young man.
No. I think that anecdotal comment was towards Joseph and whatever Joseph
no, it
says.
wasn't. Hold
It
on.
wasn't. It was to Frank.
If people would let me finish, I would
All right, go
explain,
ahead. Go
because
ahead, Cisco.
what ends up happening is you hear like 30% of what I say and you react to that 30%, and you need to hear 100%. Okay, so first I'll make it short and sweet because the attention span is like not happening here. Okay, look, I was not talking about what you said about the statistics or about the fact, because it's a fact that women had to ask men for permission to go get a job. I was not disagreeing with that. What I'm talking about is anecdotal, is you saying that where you work, all the boss positions are women, and you look around and you see nothing but women in these supervisory positions. I'm not saying that that's not true, because I don't know what it was like where you work. What I'm saying is that was your personal experience. It's not that way everywhere else. That's why what you were saying was anecdotal about that specific thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, splitting it. I guess
That makes sense to me.
You
that
know
makes
what
sense.
I've learned?
But
It makes sense to me.
Just
I
tell
want to say,
people
wait,
that
I want to
they're
say one
right.
more thing.
You're
I
please,
right.
want to say one more thing.
please.
I want to say one more thing. Nobody here knows what the hell I know. Nobody knows what my experience is. So, and I'm not going to assume yours either. So
You're
I
right.
may be younger than you.
You're right.
All right. I mean,
But
look, man.
we're here.
You're right.
We're supposed to be. Hold on. We're here. We're supposed to be
You
sharing our
win.
experiences.
You win.
Supposed to be sharing our experiences with each other, sharing our opinions, right? So
But
I mean, I can't when
this
if people take
argument,
things personally. Yeah, it's like you can't have a conversation when people take things personally. All I'm saying is that I was misunderstood. Frank misunderstood what I was saying. I completely agreed with what he was saying, the first part of what he was saying, that women had to ask for permission to get jobs, all of that. I agree with that. That's a fact. We can't argue that. What I'm saying is his personal experience at his job is not my experience. It's not Blizzard's. It's not anyone else's but his. Now, some of us may have a similar experience, but other people don't have that experience. That's what anecdotal
yeah,
means. If people are getting offended because the word anecdotal was used, let me use a different term. That's your personal experience. Okay. But it's not like that everywhere else. And that's what I'm talking about. We have to kind of think about not just our own personal experience, but what is actually happening out there in the rest of the world too.
fair enough.
I get it. I get it. So they're asking what the topic
Young
is.
man, do you
What the
understand
top?
what
Hold
federal
on,
agents
Mr. Tate. Hold on.
do?
I
You
gotta say
understand
something.
federal
Mr.
agents?
Tate, hold on 1 second. I gotta explain
Go
because
ahead.
people in the chat are asking what the topic is. The topic of the live stream is, are men in a midlife crisis or a midlife correction? You went
Or the
way
correction.
off
Yep.
because I had started talking about men um dealing with shit for years and years and years, and sacrificing, and not living out their dreams, not pursuing their happiness. Then I went to the subject of staying in relationships longer than we should, and men not leaving relationships. So that's how we got to this. It kind of went on this, but we're gonna keep going down this road if you guys want to, you know. So who did I just interrupt? I forgot. I just interrupted
Well,
one of you guys.
I'll say this. I'll say this real quick, guys. Okay, Mr. Tate, no disrespect to you whatsoever. I hope you don't feel that I don't respect you. I do respect you. Okay, you deserve respect just as a human being. Period.
No,
Okay,
I don't feel that
but
way.
with all
I'm
due
just
respect,
trying to explain to you statistics. I'm telling you about statistics,
well,
not
like I
my
said,
personal view.
with all due respect, you don't know me. You don't know my life experience. And I mean, I'm not going to get into details, but
And you
you'd be
don't know me
surprised.
either. So,
And I'm not claiming to.
but
I'm not
you
claiming to.
win.
I'm not claiming to. But what I'm saying is, you're making a lot of assumptions about me, and you don't know about me. And I know a lot more about a
No,
lot of
and you're
things than you
making
think I do.
assumptions about me. But don't make it personal, my man. Let's move on. Let's
Yeah, here
move
we
I don't
go.
think
Here
on.
we
it's
go.
You
too
win.
personal.
I'll just say something.
Well, I'm glad you agree with me. I guess then, right?
I don't agree with a lot of what you said today.
No,
Yeah,
I
I
don't,
mean,
man.
yeah. I
I
mean,
can
I
never
get,
finish.
but
I
I
you
can
agree.
know
never
what
finish what I'm
though?
saying, but you don't
No,
even know
but
what I'm saying because I never get to
I
finish.
no, I heard you
Mm.
before. Like everybody came up here. You know, I know where you. The thing it was with you. I know where you're coming from. And I think that matters. You know what I'm saying? I think that matters because you come up here and you talk a lot. So I know where you're coming from. I don't have to agree with you on this particular point. You know, I know where you're coming from. I know who you are a little bit.
my thing
A
is
little bit.
women.
I
Women,
respect
bottom
your
line,
opinions, though.
women have agency, right? So it's the way you're talking about women today, as if they don't have the means or the ability or the opportunity that men do. You know, the old trope that they're not making as much money as men. And I can point to many examples in my life that's anecdotal, where they very much earn more than me. Not because they're, women necessarily, but maybe because they just work harder than me. Maybe they just want it more than me, or
Yeah.
whatever. But it's just this idea that they're just helpless beings who just sit up in the house and today the courts are rigged in such a way in which the women they're being protected by the courts actually. So it's not because they want to rake men over the coals, so it's got to be a reason. Well, when you're talking about laws that took place in the 50s and 40s that before I was even born, and they still keep these laws, but the society changes in the way women are treated, in the way they're allowed to go out there into the workforce if they so choose to. Now we're
Pushed
talking about
out
a
there.
whole different ballgame. They have agency. They are not these infantile beings, these helpless people who can't go out there and get the type of work that we do and do it better and make more money than us. Because there are examples of that, be it anecdotal or statistical, and a lot of people have seen it in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure most of the guys here have had a female boss, most of them, or two, or three, or four.
Yeah.
So it's all anecdotal, but collectively, when you talk to a lot of fellas, like, yeah, my supervisor is a woman. My head of the head of the head is a woman. The COO is a. So it's not like these random one-off things. This is pretty much generally the case. It's going to be almost about equal. Is it perfectly equal? Probably not. Men are probably still going to predominantly hold managerial positions, leadership positions, whatever. But we can't disagree or we can't argue the fact that women have, again, last point, agency. So they go out there, they work, that's what they wanted, they got it. And so now the laws have to reflect the fact that they now have to have equal responsibility when it comes to the court proceedings. But the point that we're all trying to make is it's not equal. It's not equal. Where it was made equal before to level the playing field, now it's overwhelmingly, the scales have tipped in their favor when it comes to the law. And good luck if you don't have the money or the means as a man to fight against it. Because you're not going to beat the kind of money that they got to come after you, your kids, and get alimony or whatever else that you got. So that's all. That's all I'm saying.
All right, all right. Let me let DC say something because he's about to get up out of here. So I'm gonna let
Yeah,
DC talk.
it's 3 a.m. on the East Coast. I got one thing to say. So my favorite stat for a long time was, I'm 28 years old. I went to college. It's very expensive. And so my favorite stat for a long time was there's nobody who went to college who's 3 years older than me, at least in my circle and surrounding circles, that went to college and owns a house, 3 years older than me, and then everybody younger than me who owns a house. It's pretty insane. Tonight, so I was with a larger group. Wasn't the case. And it was women who own houses, and these are just single women who own houses. So very interesting. And how I was saying earlier, and how OG over there, I don't know your name, but like,
Frank Tate.
Yeah, yeah, there we go. Yeah, Frank. And we were saying, we got older generations, younger generations who see it. It's that these women nowadays, they get more opportunity, and obviously so. I see it in business, and it goes down, and we could say, oh, it's these, it's the women, it's DEI, it's all this bullshit. But no, it's the fact that they have the confidence to actually do the job. And it's we could sit here and spin our tires, and we could say that these women are these sacred beings. But no, it's they they have the confidence, and they're they do it, and it's kind of the way it is. But the law is skewed in their favor, and it is very old school. So divorce happens, the courts favor the woman. That's a fact. So I don't know what the hell we're arguing about right now. To me, it's like, it's silly.
Way off topic. It's way off topic because we took a little side note, and then I think we just ran with it.
Yeah, but let's talk about the actual topic though before I head out of here. Right? Are men in their midlife crisis, or is it midlife correction? So I'm somebody right now. I don't think we see everything as a crisis, and I think we shouldn't see, and this isn't just men, this isn't just women, this is people, right? We shouldn't see things as a crisis, right? I think we're at a point right now with our phones and everything where we see anxiety, right? What is anxiety? I think anxiety, it's either panic or it's excitement, right? Nobody thinks about it like that. And I think we need to, and everybody who's listening right now, all the hundreds of people listening, right, who are going to listen to this afterwards, of course, we need to look at it as excitement, not panic, but excitement. So it is a midlife correction, because we're sitting here and it's like, oh, well, my father only lived to 52, right? That's not going to be the case. Because we're in a time right now where we're seeing incredible scientific advancements right now, and it's beautiful, right? So we need to look at it like that. So if you ever have anxiety, and if you're in a midlife crisis, don't look at it like a crisis. Look at it like a midlife correction, right? And that's beautiful, right? Blizz knows, right? We have some wizards, we have some geniuses in the chat right now, and just on the panel, obviously. So it's beautiful, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I'll let these guys talk for the rest of the night. Thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk.
Thank you, bro. Anytime, man. Anytime.
Absolutely. I'll see you guys next Friday.
All right, peace, bro.
I like that.
I'll go there myself. So please.
I like that, man. It kind of brought us back. A little bit, man. Because that's where we were going. And I want to ask you guys, man, have you experienced Cisco, have you, because you haven't answered this one, have you experienced this midlife crisis or midlife correction?
I mean, well, let me say this first. It was pretty cool how DC and Joseph were both able to talk for over a minute without being interrupted. And I understand why. It's because the stuff that they're saying isn't really stuff that people are, for the most part, disagreeing with, or they're getting the respect to at least finish their thought before anybody continues. So I would just ask that, I don't think it's a disrespect issue for me, but I do think that the stuff that I'm saying people disagree with, and it's hard to not jump in and say what you got to say about that point. But one of my pet peeves from my ex was that when we'd sit down and we'd have conversations, I'd start to say, this is what I think, this is what I feel. She'd hear the first 30% of it and she'd jump on that. And it's like, if you just let me finish the rest of the thought, you'd understand the whole. If you only see a piece, you're not going to understand the whole point. And that's why we kept going around and around and around. That's eventually why I divorced her, because we just could never communicate. So I would just say that, keep in mind, gentlemen, that, it is important to, understand the whole of what somebody's trying to say and not just listen to the piece, because you'll miss the whole point if you do that. But to the question that Blizz just said, I say, yeah, man. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm 52 years old. And to me, I don't think I had a midlife crisis per se, but I think what I did have was an epiphany that was, you know what, look, I am, the age that I am now. I've been married for 21 years. Now I'm divorced. My kids are adults. I'm a grandparent now. There's a lot of stuff in my life that 10 years ago, it was completely different. So for me, it's like I have to rethink who I am and what I'm about. So I would say that it's not a midlife crisis. I would say I lean more on the side of, what was it was it's the you said choice. It's a choice, midlife choice.
Correction.
Correction. I'm sorry. Yeah, to me, it's a midlife correction because I made a lot of mistakes in life. I made a lot of mistakes as a husband. I made a lot of mistakes as a man. I made a lot of mistakes as a father, as a son, as a friend. I made a lot of mistakes in life. And for me, it's about trying to get better at being all of those things. And fortunately, I can do that. I can get better at those things. And the people who are around me still, they are allowing me to get better at that. So to me, it is a correction. It was never a crisis, I don't think, not in my life, because I knew who I was. It's just that, who I was had to change, in order to be the person that I am now.
If I may
Absolutely,
add,
man.
um,
Thank you for that. Let me
that's a
say
good
hi to
response.
admin. Admin, how you doing, beautiful? Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Go
But
ahead, Joseph. Go
okay,
ahead.
I just wanted to say real quick that was a great answer. I think this whole midlife crisis thing, it sounds, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone can, but it sounds like this is a uniquely Western kind of deal. Like we got it so good here. We have clean water, too much food, so much of it that more than half America is fat as hell. Housing for the most part. No one is actually dying of thirst or hunger on the street, even if they're homeless. They got a place to stay. A lot of people, oh, I just want to, they just, no, there's shelters everywhere. But do they have these midlife crises in like India when they have to actually go out there and work? Africa when people have to still walk miles to get just not even clean water, water that just gives them a sense of something, but they're drinking this in the water. That's their whole life. Their whole life is built around trying to survive. Do they have these midlife crises that we talk about? I highly doubt that.
No, but we're not talking. We talking about us. We talking about us, man. We
So
talking
what is
about
this
us
midlife crisis?
and the
So
things we
saying,
go
what I'm
through.
asking
There's a
is it
lot of
really,
things that on the other side of the world that
is it a
um
crisis
I don't
or is
know.
it
I don't think
like,
it's a crisis. We're all calling it a correction. Everybody that came up here called it a correction, but society doesn't call it that. Society calls it a midlife crisis. You know.
I don't know. I think we just got too much time on our hands. I think we're bored. I think, when we have everything handed and it's essentially given to us or just available to us to have so easily more than anyone else in the country or in the world rather, that we overthink some things and because we just, everything's just too good. I'm making $40,000. Woo, boo hoo. I need to make more money. You need to make more money. So I don't know. Maybe my mindset is just a little different, having been outside the country and see that these people don't even have time to consider a midlife crisis. So to me, it's a very selfish thing to even think about because maybe we just need to go out and do something. Maybe we need a war or something. Maybe we need to go out. Men don't have a
Uh,
purpose,
you,
a lack of a purpose.
okay. I
Therefore,
kind of agree with you. Except for the fact that men are actually killing themselves in America, bro, at an alarming rate.
lack
You know
of
what I mean?
purpose.
We can't forget that, bro. We cannot forget that. Men commit suicide at an alarming rate in America. We are losing people. We are killing ourselves. That's why it is serious. It is very serious, man. 'Cause those men don't get talked about enough. You know what I'm saying? So I don't
Do
mean
you
to
have
really like cut you off that bad, but I gotta push back on that because that is something that I talk about a lot. Like we are
do you
actually harming ourselves. We are killing ourselves, men.
do you think that's associated to this midlife crisis, or what do you think that these?
I think
Because
it's
I
just
agree with you. What do you think that like the sort? Because I some people leave notes behind, right? So they kind of give you insight as to their mindset. So what do
no.
you think,
It's not
generally speaking, is
it's
the
not
reason why?
specifically targeting this one topic, but this is a part of it. This is a part of it. You know, there are a lot of men who don't understand what they're going through. Like I went to into depression when I started going through this shit. I was depressed as hell when I started feeling these feelings because I didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't know what to do with my life when I had nobody to care for. Even though my son was with me, he's grown. He don't need me anymore. My kids don't need me anymore. And I live my whole life for them. What do I do now? And then, even then, thinking about
Do what I
myself
did. Move to the
first,
Philippines.
even then, thinking about myself first, I felt guilty. Even then. So it's like men don't know what to do and they need spaces where they could come and talk about this shit. It may not make sense. And I said this the other day, may not make sense to you, may not make sense to me. Maybe the message isn't for you, but you may know somebody that's going through this right now. You know what I mean?
I would say this, Blizzard. Um, men do commit suicide at a higher rate than women. I mean, that's the fact. My opinion,
They're more
the reason
successful.
why was that.
I said they're more successful.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you why I think that is. Because women are more likely to talk about that they're feeling suicidal. And when they do that, they'll get help. And when they get help, they're less likely to commit suicide. And I think the problem with men is
That's
we
true.
don't talk about it. We don't say, hey, you know what? I'm depressed. How many men walk around and tell other people that they're depressed? Not a lot.
Oh,
I mean, it's something that's stigmatized for a man to say, "Hey, I'm depressed," or "Hey, I need help," or "Hey, I feel like I'm going to kill myself." Most men have felt that pressure to not say something, and because they don't get that out of their chest, they don't get help, and because they don't get help, they end up killing themselves. So, I mean, you've said it many times. Hey, talk about it. Have the conversations. Don't be too much of a quote unquote man to where you can't ask for help.
I
I like
agree.
that. Yeah, I,
I
and
agree.
I'm willing to guess that this is probably one of the reasons why Blizzard is doing this. Right? You come on up and just say whatever on your mind and whatever and because you've been through this, Blizzard, and because we, as Cisco said, we don't have outlets like this typically. What we got is a bunch of red pill stuff and manosphere and women are this and women are it's talking points, but you don't really get channels like this typically that allow men to express how they think and or how they feel. But even that, I mean, I found myself struggling with that almost 3 weeks ago. Like I can more easily say what I think than I can what I feel. Like I'm aware of that, and I think, and I know that a lot of men feel the same way too. That it's harder to do it, and especially when you're doing it public or you're doing it around a lot of people. And it seems like, not seems like it is. Even when I go to a church, women are very open about what they're going. Oh, I felt suicidal, and oh, praise God. But men are going to be, we're going to be sitting there in the church silent, just nodding our head, knowing that we're going through the same thing too, but we're not going to be as vocal and as open about that because it appears as weakness. It appears as, oh, this person can't be trusted. Even a little tear makes us like, oh, I should probably do this by myself alone in a dark corner where no one can see, or only at a funeral or maybe at a wedding. So we are like told where to go with our emotions, where the woman is much more, they're they're told to express it and to let it all out so that way they don't have to bottle up those feelings that I would assume causes a lot of the suicides that we
I
have amongst
agree.
men in this country.
I agree. We go alone and cry. We go alone and die. You know what I mean? Like that's just basically what it is, man. That's what it is, man. So I'm glad you get me, bro. You get exactly what I want this channel to be about, you know, because I say it all the time. We need to have these conversations. We need a space where we can have these conversations because what we're up against as small, especially as small streamers, I know what I'm up against. I know what I'm doing to my channel by doing this. I'm growing it slowly, but I'm also kind of fighting a big uphill battle. But I want this space for you guys to be able to come up here and talk. It's gonna get messy sometimes. I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna get messy sometimes, but it is what it is, man. We need this shit, man. So salute, salute.
Well,
Can I
it's
get
passion. It's passion, man. I mean, I think we're all of us up here passionate people. And that's the thing is, when you have passion for something, when you care about something, you're gonna fight for it. You're gonna put your foot down on things. And that's the thing I was trying to say earlier is that, we can't take none of this personal. All of us up here are just here to try to, make things, better. I don't think anybody up here is trying to make things worse. You're trying to make things better. We all have an opinion on how things can get better, and we got to be mindful of that. We all have an opinion how to make things better, and we're not going to agree all the time, but like I said, before we finish, I just want to say, hey, I respect everybody up here, and nothing. I hope nothing that I said makes you feel that I don't respect you or think that your opinion matters just as much as mine does, because it matters just as much as mine does. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We can disagree, but I hope you understand that, just because I disagree with you doesn't mean that I don't respect you as a person, because I do respect you as a person.
salute, salute?
Well, if you didn't disagree, it would be a boring. This would be a boring conversation.
It got
Boring as
kind of,
hell.
it
Boring as
got
hell.
Oh,
lively, man. It got lively. Listen to me just talk.
I mean, it's fun. So I like when you come on and say, I'm a bad guy. I'm going to throw a bomb into the. And I actually like that. Even though you might think, like, okay, it sounds like they're taking it personal. I think that, like, as
Nah,
men, we're less prone to, we can somehow, like, this is, like, not disassociate, but compartmentalize. Like,
Ryan,
okay, they
Ryan.
can go, like, da, 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 da. And then we're like, hey, man, let's go get a beer. Let's go to the strip club later.
hang on
Like,
now.
that's how
Yes, sir.
that's just how it
Let
is.
me let me
We're
say
not,
goodbye to Ryan, man. Let me say goodbye to Ryan. I'm sorry, bro. Ryan's heading
Take
out,
over,
man.
baby.
He
Hey,
wrote
Ryan,
that
Ryan, take
comment,
care, man.
damn,
Yeah,
15
yeah,
minutes ago. I'm sorry, bro.
yeah,
Thank you,
bro.
man. I appreciate you coming up, bro.
No, no, bad, man.
Anytime, all right.
Anytime.
I'm gonna check
Frank,
that. I'm gonna check that Facebook Messenger, and I'll get back
yeah,
to you. All right.
I can see
Take
Frank.
care,
Take
Ryan.
care. Take care
All
of
right,
your
brother.
beautiful wife. Live a bit. Take care of her, right?
Thank you, bro. Thank you. All right,
and lastly,
guys.
I'll just say that, man, we're not as kumbaya-ish as a woman would typically be in a circus. We just, the way we're doing it is healthy. We should just do it more often. And it's just the way we process our emotions, and it's genuine and it's real and it's raw. So it doesn't make it wrong. It's not like we're going to sit around. So tell me about your feelings. So tell me how. That's not typically how we express ourselves and our feelings. It's just that we just got to be expressive in the way that we should be, in the way that the emotion feels up. So, man, I welcome the differences that Lizard, Frank, and Ryan and Cisco have from mine. I prefer it because I don't want to echo chamber. I want to hear the different opinions because in some cases my mind do change, and it's going to be a little rough. It's going to get a little testy, and it's going to be a fire. That's just how men are. And then, hey man, let's go to the bar and get a beer. I've done that so many times. I've come to near blows with a friend of mine, and we still cool to this day. I took him out. We went got some breakfast at IHOP. Yeah, it's on me, man. It's cool. Yeah, we know what we made money. So it's like that's just how we are. I think women, it's just a little bit more different, and that's okay. We shouldn't try to be so agreeable, and I think as men, naturally, we're just not, and that's just the way it is. So man, I appreciate you, Cisco, coming on here and expressing how you feel, and you do got a point about us interrupting, and me at this point, I've probably spent about a minute and 30 seconds talking, so I'm gonna stop now.
Oh, you counting now? Damn, you counting now?
Wow. Now, I mean, I don't want you to keep track of how long, bro. No, no. Because look, at the end of the day, here's one of the problems that I see in our society right now, and I'm sure Frank can agree to this. Back in the day, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have these little memes that would go around. We didn't have, these little sound bites that, people would do on TikTok. You know, you actually had to have a real thought. You actually had to, like, base what you were saying on some real shit. You couldn't just, make a slick saying and then that's what it is. And I think sometimes to make a point, you got to explain it. And it's hard in this format because all four of us are up here, and we all have something to say. Everybody can't talk at the same time, and there needs to be just a little bit of patience. We each got to give each other that grace to get that thought out, even though we disagree, because there's times where I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that. Oh hell no, that's not true. But I got to shut up because I got to let the man get his thought out, so that maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's something that he's going to sum this up with that's going to tie it all together, that I'm going to go, oh shit, okay, now I get what he's saying. So it's just, because we're passionate, it's hard to do that.
But then there's
Yeah.
also a podcast format as well. So it's almost like you have to self-edit yourself in a way, because like if it was just me and you talking across the table, I got all the time in the world. But because it's a podcast, there has to be some level of entertainment. You don't want people to get bored, but you also don't want to. You want to be considerate of other people on the panel and what they have to say. So there's a lot of different factors, and it's just that self-editing process that's not that easy, even for me to do. Um, but like in a personal situation, or maybe just two people, three people, then yeah, it's like, okay, I fully understand what you're saying. But then unfortunately, because of the nature of what this is, it's not possible unless you're the host of the show, um, or you structure your show, or the host structures the show to which it allows for a 3 or 4 or 5 minute fully fleshed out thought. Because I wish I could do it sometimes, but I can't. I just try to be cognizant of all the different elements involved in making this show possible.
Yeah. I just really just want to keep the flow going. So that's why I kind of like trying to um compress the responses. And I'll be seeing the chat. It didn't do it tonight, but sometimes the viewers be going so, but it is what it is, man. Because we know Cisco said it, the attention span nowadays is not like, it's just not what it is. Even when I'm talking up here, it goes down. But like I said, I'm not gonna stay too much longer, and I have to apologize to everybody in the chat. I know I fell off reading the chats, but when you got a good conversation like that going, I just let it go. You know what I mean? A lot. I think I let it go a lot more than what I usually would. I don't know if you all agree, Cisco, Joseph, y'all.
No, you definitely did. And it's hard, man. I don't think any of us up here, are envious of having to be you tonight. I mean, I think we're all like, oh man, I feel like this is your thing, bro. And I don't ever want to disrespect your thing.
Nah,
And
shit.
but
I was in there too. I
I
was
mean,
jumping
we
in
like I
there.
said, we're all passionate. We're passionate people, and we're all strong-minded people, and sometimes you're gonna have those type of interactions, and it's just unavoidable. So I think you do a good job, man. It's hard. You got a lot to juggle.
Nah, this was a good.
Yeah,
I think this was a good
so,
stream. So
it seems a lot.
no matter
I
how
just
it
want
turns out, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
What's
But
crazy
Well,
is
it's always
me, Frank, and
good to have
me.
enough people on your panel to make it good.
yes.
What's crazy though, Blizzard, is me, Frank, and Joseph got together earlier today, and we all decided that this is what we were going to do. I want you guys to know this has all been a show. We
Yeah,
none of
right.
this is real. We
Scripted.
just did this to get views. That's all it was.
Scripted. Yeah, it's all
Scripted.
scripted.
It was
The
some Jerry
Very.
WWE,
Springer stuff,
Yeah.
the WWE calls it a work. It's been a work.
right?
All of y'all been had, bamboozled, taken for a ride.
I was the
Yeah.
heel. I was the heel tonight. That was my role, and I think I played it pretty well.
Tomorrow's Joseph's turn.
Nah, I like being the
He the bad guy. Who he say he was? He was the
He's
Rock.
the
He
face.
said he was the
He's the
Rock when he
face.
came up here. He said he was the Rock when he came up here, man. I remember that.
I was the heel rock though, not the face rock.
Hill Rocker.
Yes. I don't know. See, I don't even know where they still talking about DC when he was on the panel. So I got like 5 more minutes. Then I'm taking my butt to sleep. So I appreciate you guys
Yeah.
coming up. I'm gonna read some of these chats, try to catch up. I'm gonna drop y'all down. So thank you, Mr. Tate. Salute, brother. Thank you, Joseph. As always, salute. Thank you, man.
Anytime.
Cisco, you the realness, man. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate your opinion. Like I said, even though I don't be agreeing sometimes, so it is what it is. But I appreciate that you come back and you come up here and you speak your mind, bro. And that's how I know where you're coming from and where your heart is at. So I'm gonna see you and your point of view different from people who haven't like heard you talk and hasn't, you know what I'm saying? So I
Hey,
appreciate you, man.
iron doesn't sharpen iron without some friction, bro. Iron
Yeah,
doesn't sharpen iron without some friction. So we're all gonna get sharper by having conversations like this.
I agree. I agree, man. But thank you guys, man. I'm gonna
Appreciate you guys. Joseph,
yeah,
Mr.
no
Tate,
doubt.
Can I
appreciate you
say this
guys.
one thing?
Go ahead, brother.
Um, I just want men to understand that when they do hit that part of their midlife, okay, that's not the end, okay? It's a new beginning. When your money starts to becoming your money and you want to go out and do things, do it, okay? Travel the world. Go and see. You work the majority of your life taking care of everybody else but yourself. Now it's time for you to get out and see the world and be you again. Because you lost that, okay, when you got into that marriage and when you had those kids and you took on those responsibilities and on. So it's not a crisis, okay, when your money starts to belong to you again instead of going to everybody else. Get those things that you always wanted, do those things that you always wanted to do, and don't think that life is over. Don't be thinking about you should commit suicide or anything like that. Enjoy your life, love yourself. Thanks.
Well said, bro. Well said, man. Took my outro, man. Took my outro. That was perfect. But nah. I'll see you
Okay.
guys later, man. Thank you guys for coming up, man. I appreciate it, man.
All right, Bliss.
All right.
All
Peace.
right, fellas.
I'll drop y'all down, man. But thank you guys, man. And then I'm about to read. I don't know if I'm not gonna catch up on these comments, man. I'm looking. I'm 20 minutes behind in the comments. So Frank said it perfect. He just said it. Mr. Tate just said it perfect. It's not the end. It's what we talk about here on this channel all the time. It's about accountability. It's about getting back up. It's about getting back up. I'm thankful that I had positive voices when I was going through this because it was not a midlife crisis. Even though we've heard that our whole lives, midlife crisis, it was minimized. And that's what I was trying to say tonight. The midlife crisis that I knew growing up meant going out, buying a new suit, dyeing your hair, getting a hairpiece, buying a fast car, and fucking a younger woman. Just to be real about it. Let's be real. That was the midlife crisis I seen growing up. That's not what's happening nowadays. Nowadays, men are checking out. They younger and younger, they're refusing to get married, to have kids. Older men are waking up and checking out of the system if they can, because we talked about that earlier. If they're able to, they're moving overseas. They're chasing their dreams finally. They're not staying stuck to the same system that had them sleeping all those years, man. And they don't have to. You know why? Because men are talking. Men are talking now. And we're talking to each other, right? And it's called like social, what is it called? Social proof. I seen it when I started watching Calvin Sunshine Shoulders. I said, damn, if that brother could come from where he came from, right? And turn his life around and end up in the Philippines, I could do it too. right? So it's not a crisis. They only use the word crisis to minimize it, to make it seem like it's chaos going on. It's not chaos. It's you waking up. That's what's happening. You're waking up. And they know that if more and more and more men wake up, they're going to lose their most valuable players. That's what it's all about. So we're not in midlife crisis. We're in midlife correction. And the younger brothers out there, I don't even know what to call them, in their 20s, 30s, right? I guess it's pre-midlife correction or avoidance. You know, it's not about pushing fear and pushing anger and resentment. It's about pushing truth. So if you're going to tell these stories, just tell your experiences. All right. I appreciate every one of y'all, man. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all the chats tonight, but I do have to get up off of here. I appreciate everybody that commented. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better next time, but a conversation like that, I'm just going to let it go because it needs to be had. All right. Some conversations need to be heard. All right. So thank you to everybody that showed up tonight. I want to say congratulations to the newest couple in the Blizzard family. All right. My nephew and his beautiful new wife. I know y'all gonna make it because y'all are two beautiful souls, two beautiful hearts, genuinely good people. Right. And there's still good people out there in the world. All right. So y'all have a good night, man. Wherever you are, good night, good morning, good evening. Until next time, this has been Blizzard Abroad.